Hi, Craig. We're very silly today. We're alternatively tired or crazy because we talked about Kingdom Hearts. Um, I entirely agree with you, Mooney. That is, when she's too small to fight them off, this is how she wins. um, yeah. So anyway, we were entering the realm of death. Um, Uh, our party has given themselves up to the um, high clerics of the temple because things went wrong with the remnants, and they were accused of, perhaps sabotaging things, perhaps stealing things, perhaps conspiring against the temple. Nobody's really sure, so there was a little bit of an inquisition. Unfortunately, the very trusted witnesses, the other high clerics, were all unconscious due to the remnant attack. Um, so they didn't get good answers. In trying to determine the truth of what happened, um, two main issues occurred. One, in the course of saving people, May had stolen some documents from the Forbidden Archive. Um, and they were not even related to how she saved people, so that argument didn't work. And Also, two of the high clerics that they saved from the remnants have subsequently died, even though nobody can remember them having life-threatening injuries. Um, and so the others are accused of potential murder. While this issue was being figured out, and it was said that people would kind of be locked away for a while until they could determine the truth of what happened, Cal and May realized that in taking the test to become a high cleric, because that sort of wipes away all sins, like a trial by combat. This is the favor of death, saying that you were in the right if you succeed in this trial. This could wipe out any accusations, as well as potentially allow them to stop Tinnitus and Co. from getting what he wants. Cal, taking responsibility for everyone and all potential crimes, decides to take the test and enter the realm of death. And so does, to Cal's consternation, May, as May is both wanting to protect and help Cal, but also work for her own interests, getting access to the Forbidden Archive in order to make good on her deal with Jonas, deal she made to help save the others. As things got noodle, as things got very hectic and chaotic. There were some arguments and fights, May calling Sinner, and things ending not particularly well, as Sinner is now headed to the temple to try and fix this. Cal and May kind of getting into it, and Fish and Jamal and Beliala sort of locked away in a holding cell to await the outcome of the test here. Fish exploring their magic and seeming to find a pull, a connection through the others, and through Cal specifically, into this death magic that may allow them to tag along to a certain extent. As you are prepared and told about the test itself, you are going to be dropped into a safe area, after which you will need to navigate through a succession of shrines until finding the farthest one, and then come back with the power from that shrine and be pulled out of death through a sort of tethering magic. Um, you were also given certain wards and protections that, while they won't last very long, will at least minimize the damage that death does to you, so that you have enough time to complete this test rather than dying outright pretty much as soon as you enter death. Um, and as you were given these instructions, blessed with this magic, tethers attached, you were sent into death. And as you meditated and dropped away into this realm, uh, Cal watched just before she disappeared as a circular blade on the end of a staff came out from the shadows, looped around her cleric's head, guiding her, tethering her, protecting her, and chopped it off as the Bargist it has here. Um, a- as the Bargist has come and seemingly tried to sabotage Cal, as her soul is falling into death with no way out, and her protections unraveling. Now, with all that said, we do need to wait for Ink to come back just a little bit, and because I've described this weapon a couple of times, but nobody really, I think, has a great idea of what it looks like. I'm just gonna sketch it really fast in an
Yeah,
expert
it's like
program.
I'm imagining it. It's like a circular, like literally circle blade, space in the middle, so you can loop over someone's head and then
Mhm.
go. Yeah,
It's
on a staff
essentially
or
like
something.
it's essentially like a chakram,
Me
yeah,
like
like a
Axel Kingdom Hearts would know.
yes, no, it's like an actual Kingdom Hearts, or it's like fucking
Yeah, without the
what's
handles.
her name?
I can picture it.
Xena the Warrior Princess
Mm,
throwing a thing on the end of a staff.
yeah, I got you.
While we're waiting, how I don't have the spell card for it. How many spell points does Hollow cost?
Um Hollow costs I don't have the spell card for it. Oh, you don't have the spell card for it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's because I suck. Um,
Well,
because well, in actuality, I made the spell cards and then fucked them up and had to throw them away and didn't remake them when I should have. Um, it costs 5.
Okay, cool. So I would need a
wow.
long. I'd need a long rest before I could cast it.
Yes, and it's very much supposed to be like it costs that much because it's not something you do in battle.
Yeah.
It is
Mm.
supposed to be something where you just like stay up 24 hours and then go for a long rest.
Okay.
How many spell points does Cal have now and also generally?
I have 3 right now, which is not as bad as it could be, but not phenomenal. I
Not
usually have
great.
8.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna have like 15 or something.
I wish. Apparently, Metal has like 45.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, no, metal has a lot of spell points. Functionally, necromancer is a modification of a spell sniper rogue with a little bit of warlock
Oh,
in
okay.
there. While artificer is pretty much artificer 1-to-1, and neoteric is warlock functionally. While elementalist is essentially sorcerer, which is
Hmm.
much more magic focused. Um, uh, hey, Ink, get this on the recording. I'm proud of you. um, and yeah. Anyway,
So we're
let's
in death.
yeah. So we're in death. Let's jump back in. Um, as as both Cal and May um is sitting in this moment of meditation, vision starting to darken as whispers get louder as their soul starts to slip out of their body and into the realm of death. Just as Cal starts to disappear, shing, head of her guiding cleric falls just in front of her. As suddenly she is spiraling uncontrolled, fish meditating in the cell, having found this connection with May, but especially with Cal. Feel it tug, pull on you, and it hurts to pull away. You feel like maybe it will hurt more to keep going. But as it pulls you, you feel yourself falling as you yourself are tugged into this realm with them. Not completely, not in the way you are, but to some extent, bridging the gap between living and dead. Your body and your awareness to some extent, with Jamal and Beliala, and another part of you, a part of your attention, part of your vision, part of your stealth with May and Cal. As you fully appear, it starts to howl. You find yourselves here in the realm of death. Where you were sitting cross-legged, you're now standing. Small crunch landing on stones beneath you. As you open your eyes, for the briefest moment, you are your true unfiltered selves, the true form of your soul, a ghostly figure with curves and an implied but invisible nakedness before you solidify into this view of yourself. Cal perhaps appearing with how she thinks of herself with a veil and big robes. May appearing in jacket and combat boots that are similar to but not quite like the ones she currently wears, subtly different in many ways. As you look up and see others standing around you too, apparating in front of your eyes, you see Abbot Tinnitus, Cleric and Harkin, and Cleric Tail.
I mean, just, what? Shit.
Oh.
She lied. Cool.
Where's Sister Oz is the question.
Sister Oz did not come in.
Weak.
She's the one who fucking bowed out?
She was
Okay.
instructed to stay. Not that you know that, but yes, you open your eyes and see these others in front of you. Do you
Put
focus?
on her big werewolf glove. Sorry.
Do you focus on the other souls that are appearing here, or do you focus on your surroundings most immediately? And that's a question for both of you.
Cal's too fucking freaked by the sudden cleric murder to be have her head in the game Kingdom or High School Musical style.
You're
Yeah,
gonna
no,
say Kingdom Hearts style.
I know, no, Cal would immediately focus on the other souls.
Okay.
And they will do perception.
Yeah, you're both doing perception. It's just which are you?
Oh, okay.
focused
Sorry.
on?
Yeah. No surroundings.
Okay. Both of you give me a perception check.
I mean, like, Patrick, you misspoke, and you're like, no, I didn't.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
That's a 24.
Oh, Lord. Sorry. Gotta grab my D20.
I vote yes.
Yeah. No, the timing wise, that does work out. You got a short rest. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I elected not to have one because I have full health points. I got a dirty 20 for perception.
Okay, dirty 20 for the people and a 24 for the surroundings. With a dirty 20, you are hyper focused on these people appearing in front of you. Tinnitus looks very kind of like centered and determined, not necessarily confident. You can see a little bit of the fear peeking through, but he is very quickly like assessing his surroundings, seeing you here, kind of stepping forward and ready to be active and about it. And Harkin and especially Tail both look fucking terrified and are looking around with confusion and fear and in what is perhaps a reflection of her physical body, perhaps not. Tail looks like she has just been like fear sweating as of just a moment ago. She's really going through it, and they all sort of stop and focus on you two appearing here, and while and Harkin and Tail kind of like brace themselves like they're ready to like dodge out of the way of an attack. Tinnitus seems entirely calm, and you appearing here is surprising but not concerning in a way, as he notices you there, kind of like maybe a barely contained rage on his face as you are once again violating something that he holds to be sacred with your very presence. And they are pretty close to you. You can, as Tinnitus is kind of like step forward just a little bit. It's about 10 feet from you, while the others hang back just a little bit more. And as you look at them, you see this magic connecting them. You can sort of feel the tether, but can't see it. But you see little like motes of dust flaking off their skin as the necromantic protection that is keeping them alive here in this place is breaking down with connection to the death realm. And as you see this, you feel sick. You feel incredibly unwell, sick to your stomach, like something is deeply wrong, like a cancer that hasn't been diagnosed. As you look down in your own hands and see not little specks and flecks of ash coming off, but whole flakes of your protection tearing away as the spell put on you for protection is breaking down rapidly with the death of the one who cast it. They look perhaps uncomfortable, but not overly so. And you feel like you are on a precipice and are going to be spiraling into a point of no return pretty quickly. With a 24, May is keeping an eye out of the surroundings. See that you're in a little bowl canyon, what looks like a little crater of some kind, filled with little divots and nicks, just very uneven flooring. And as you kind of like step back and take in the larger view, you realize it's essentially a pattern of impressions of bones, like a negative of the library structure, looking like bones were pulled out of the stone as if from wet cement. Creating a sort of arcane pattern that you recognize as some sort of magic, but not the specific function that it is doing. And up these kind of like canyon walls into the broken and splintered spikes around you, you don't see you don't see like any caves or pathways except one. Behind Tinnitus and the others, the hills kind of slope down into a slot canyon that takes you out on a very clear path. And marked on the cavern walls pointing that direction is a large arrow. But you are also in the realm of death for the first time. Cal has training to be here, has been here before, has seen into it. You are not. You don't have the training to avoid the hallucinations inherent with death. And so while Cal sees a dark sky and a dark landscape, twisting canyons whistling with wind, and every once in a while movement in the corner of your eyes in the shadows, you instead see a red sky with some sort of black river flowing through it, winged creatures with horns flying to and fro, and a smell of burning, some sort of combination of a Christian hell and an Egyptian afterlife. As you see a large alligator head appear over the edge of the bowl and then disappear, ducking down again. Alligator the size of a building. And as you look up and are startled by this, you turn and see fish. Looking like a force ghost, like slightly see-through, just kind of there. You've appeared like a little bit later, not quite as dramatically. It's sort of a gentle apparating rather than a fall. You just kind of become more and more aware of the death realm, and then you're standing next to May, being like, "Huh, this looks weird."
May is like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
I'm happy to see you too.
Cal is going through the horrors, but I don't think you guys could probably, you can't see her face and you probably can't hear her panicked breathing, but she's just like watching like the spell flake up and then looking at Tail and then looking at Fish and then doing a double take and then being like, are you really, you didn't join? What? Why are you here?
I'm not like officially doing the test, but I could follow you guys in, and that's good, right? That I can come in and but also not be there and help you, and you don't look so good.
You're not in any danger doing this?
Unless Jamal decides to slit my throat while I'm meditating.
Cal looks like she's about to say something, like puts a hand up and then looks back and then goes, it's good you're here. It's very, very good you're here. I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be here, so I'm going to try to cast some magic. Hopefully that'll keep me a little longer and keep you two safe. Um, and instead of Patrick, I'm going to ask you / do an Arcana check. So I'm thinking Aura Vitality would be handy here. Which is healing rate energy radiates from you in an aura with a 35-foot radius until the spell ends. The aura moves with you is centered on you. You can use a bonus action to cause one creature in the area or in the aura, including you, to gain 2d6 hit points of just being like, let's just have a circle of protection. But the only
How
thing
long?
is that lasts a minute. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, if it was an hour or like even 10 minutes, that'd be great. But how practical would Cal think that would be versus like the hour of Pass Without Trace?
I think you would know that that is an incredibly important thing to keep in your back pocket, but not necessarily immediately relevant unless you are immediately going to try to like kill Tinnitus and go into
Okay.
battle. This is the kind of thing of like, you think that with this protective spell, actually give me an Arcana check, Arcana or Religion, as you are trying to
Cal's
make
kind of trying
sense
to like
of what's going on here.
stabilize herself.
Yeah.
That's
Maze got some
priority
ideas for
numero
that.
uno.
Fish hears, Dad, I can hear you murmuring out loud. Did you find Collagenous and May?
Oh, I did. Get in here with me. And
Okay,
I
say hi.
assume
Say
that
hi to them.
a thing of...
There's like
can,
you take take your hands and you're like come here, and like a little like poof, just like a little like a balloon full of smoke popping into existence. Kekino is there in your arms. He goes, "Oh wow, it's really scary here. This is bad."
Yeah, but it's really scary, but we're all here together now that you've joined us. And we're gonna make it through. Also, would like to, Eldritch Sight is on, looking directly at Cal. Can I see just how dire the situation is?
Give me a I will say a charisma saving throw.
You're gonna see all of existence.
Blinded immediately.
I rolled low, so that
The fish is blind.
I got a 16.
You with a 16?
Yeah.
Okay, it could have been a lot lower. You do not go mad looking at the beginning and end of all existence. As you turn on Eldritch Sight, and for like...
You're like, Cal, I need you to get really, really close, so you're the only thing I see.
Yeah. For just a moment, it feels like you are peeling back behind the layers of the realm of death, looking at the endless abyss, the dark chaos, the destruction of all, the beginning and end, the raw soup of creation. And then you pull back and decide to not see that and look at things on the more surface level, as your perception almost feels like it's calling to you, it's pulling on you, like you've become aware of it and it is trying to suck you into it, like if you ever allowed yourself to fully understand that this place is merely a suggestion your mind is putting forward of what this place looks like and how it exists. If you ever convinced yourself that that wasn't true, that you could see beyond the illusion would fail and your soul would immediately be torn apart and destroyed. As you fell into nothingness, as you pull yourself back from that precipice and look at the realm of death, this is a realm made not by magic, but something adjacent to it. A realm made of thought and belief and feeling and energy. An energy that is a sibling to magic, but not quite the same thing. And so it hurts like absolute shit. You take 3 points of psychic damage. As this entire structure, you look at the rock walls around you and immediately like zoom in and start seeing an endless fractal of energy that makes up every speck of dust and stone in this existence before pulling back again and again and again and finally settling yourself on the most surface level of perception, able to separate out almost the different wavelengths of light, the difference between death and magic, and how similar they are, but how different they could be. And look at Cal. Cal shines like a beacon here. The fact that she is alive, a soul, a being of existence, of order, of vitality in this place means that she and all the others stand out to your sight as an almost blinding light. But while the others have sort of what almost looks to your senses like a shawl of magic around them, Cal's is fraying rather rapidly. You see, you almost use the metaphor of a weave. You can see the main threads having been broken as the wind pulls and unravels these strings of magic and blows them out into the wind. And you also see the glow of magic, obviously not as bright as these living beings, these souls, from the ground, from these impressions of bone, from this place that has clearly been prepared in a specific, meaningful way.
I guess my first priority is there a way that I can think of to perhaps pull the threads together and stitch Cal back in like more securely, so that she's actually gonna, not be torn apart and dissipate?
Give me a Arcana check. And what was Cal's Arcana or religion?
16.
16? With a 16, you would guess that because time does not move the same way in the realm of death as it does in the living realm, it speeds up and slows in fits and starts, imperceptible to you, but in a mode where mere moments could be passing with your alive body, and yet hours could pass here, or vice versa. You think that to your subjective experience, to relativity, the others have, with a properly applied, completed spell, perhaps about 3 hours of protection left before their shawl, so to speak, their protection magic fades enough to start hurting them. You think you have maybe 45 minutes. It is not killing you immediately. It is disappearing way, way faster than the others. And because of the way time works subjectively here, this could be the moment that is happening between when the person who cast this on you got their head cut off and when their brain stopped working or when their body fell to the ground. Like literally fractions of a second may pass in the time it takes this spell to wear off for you in these 45 minutes. And what of Fish?
That was an 18 Arcana.
Okay. With an 18 Arcana, you focus on these fragments flittering off, and so much of your magic is instinctual. It works by metaphor and instinct rather than complete understanding. You see them as threads, and though that's not what they are, that's what you consider them to be, and that's how you consider your own magic. And you think you may be able to snag some of those and weave them back in a way that would not protect Cal, but would make it last longer, make it break down more slowly. And that if May helps you as your sort of avatar, someone who can operate more closely on Cal, you may be able to help her with this. With an 18, that is enough to, in the equivalent that Cal has about 45 minutes before she is exposed. You, with the help of May, can spend 1 spell point to extend that by 15 minutes, as many times as you have spell points for.
Okay.
What about if May uses her ideas in conjunction with Fish?
If
Yeah, what's May's idea?
if you do that, you think it may complement each other but not work together entirely. When this protection fails, Cal is not going to immediately disappear. She's just going to start to break down fairly rapidly. She can use her own magic or your guys' magic to heal herself over and over again. She's essentially be taking damage over time. And she'll take it. She'll start taking it much faster than everybody else. While Fish may use your expertise and their magic to extend the length of time she is protected, your plan may allow her to take less damage over time. So they complement each other, but they don't work together in exactly the same way.
Yeah.
All right. And in these brief moments, as you look around and consider your surroundings and the situation you're in, Tinnitus shakes out his robes, entirely pointless gesture, as his robes don't actually exist here, and he says, "Well, Denier, seems that you have found..."
Cal cuts him off and says that my horrible heathenism is keeping me from being in the realm of death. Yes. Stole your line, bitch.
Merely that I think it is tainted by your presence, but I suppose death will decide.
Does it feel does it feel very comforting noting that 2 objectively higher heathens are right here next to me?
I'm sure Miss Gladly will be sorted out rather soon, and... Is that... Fish? Huh.
Hi, Goldick.
He looks like a little confused, and you feel like maybe he can't quite hear you or quite see you. You think like maybe your connection with these others means that you are like a fully formed force ghost for them, and for Tinnitus, you are like the suggestion of a shape, a voice on the
Okay.
wind. Like you're like, "Hey, Ghouldick," and he hears like,
Goldick.
yeah, and it's like,
He's making comments about your
Fish just
necrotic
like
penis.
comes closer and then just goes up, hey, Goldick. He goes, Fish, stop doing bits! I'm dying!
Fish, stop doing bits, I'm dying. Tinnitus gives you a seemingly kind of mocking nod as he turns to the others, and you catch like the briefest moment of surprise as he sees Tail here, and then says, I suppose we will see what this place makes of you. And starts to kind of like hike out.
Cal is like 5
If-
seconds away from going, she's not gonna do that, but
if Fish has gotten the distinct impression that Tinnitus cannot hear them, then they're just going to speak candidly and be like, "So we're going to kill him, or would that just be wasting time? And we're just going to get you guys through this?"
While Fish is saying that, they're trying to like pick up a rock, and it's kind of like sliding through their hands, and they're like, "May, I need your hands. If I can't hear me, I need to write a message." Girl dick.
May is going to look to Cal, I think. Even though May is like to Fish.
is Tinnitus no longer in earshot? Is Tinnitus no longer in earshot?
He's far enough away that if you're quiet, he probably won't hear you.
Yeah. Cal kind of suspects he already knows, but just wants to like not confirm anything, to kind of say and being like, my carrier has been assassinated.
What?
Beheaded in my last second of consciousness. That's why
Jesus.
I'm fading. I would prefer you focus on keeping me alive, but if I die and you want to kill Tinnitus in revenge, I understand that. You have my permission and blessing, but finish the mission, keep me alive. Maybe don't waste any energy or magic on trying to kill him.
Okay. Fuck. All right. Back in the cell, we have ice hearts. Could that help you somehow?
I would. Maybe somebody could do a circuit.
Is anyone hearing that?
May got a 24 perception and was focused on the area around her. So with that, plus Ellie's real life perception, you're watching Tinnitus start to hike out of this valley towards the one passageway, the one obvious way out, pointed with the arrow. Tail and Harkin are kind of like looking at each other, looking at you, looking at Tinnitus, and just like kind of starting to turn around. And you look past them, and you see a figure, not on the path, in the hills a little bit. A figure with a silhouette of a robe.
Is it Anubis?
And if you see it for just a moment, it doesn't seem to walk, almost kind of slide out of view, and then it's gone. As the Barghest is watching you, but now no longer in sight.
And Cal at that says, and also your theory that it secretly likes me and just trying to bring me dead things, absolutely not chasing, as it's the one that killed my carrier.
But it brought you a dead thing. It just made it dead at the same time.
What a lovely little gift.
Then yeah, you can tell me how wrong I was once we survive this thing, which we will. Where are your instincts telling you to go?
Do you think I'm like a salmon?
No, if anything, that would be me.
I don't have instincts about where to go. It's not like I have to go on my intrinsic.
You can be a salmon if you want to.
I don't want to be a
Dad
salmon.
says you can be anything you want to be.
We can figure out Collisionist's migration habits later. I do have the map somewhat in mind. And May is going to drop to the...
You cut out there for just a moment.
Where did I cut out? After my very funny quip?
May's going to...
Just before.
No, it was
May is going to.
We had the quip.
Yeah.
Okay. May drops to her knees and starts sketching what she remembers of the map.
Okay. You sketch out what you remember of the map. Give me a cartography check with disadvantage.
Cal will pass, or Kath pass without trace, including on Fish and Keknode, even though she doesn't know Force Ghosts will need it, because
Yeah, might as well.
it doesn't hurt.
May-
She would have
yeah.
cast it on Tail, too, unless she's like, is Tail like, do, or like, can she like get her attention or something like
She
that?
can get her attention. It's absolutely like Tinnitus was like dramatic speech, and now I turn and leave, and Harkin is kind of like, oh, I guess
we gotta
we're
go.
leaving, and Tail is kind of like, wait, what? What's happening? We're not going together?
Yeah, Cal will get her attention while May's bringing out the maps.
That's an 18
And
for me.
can good, nice. Can Fish snap their fingers in their real life body to be like, Jamal, hand me cat.
You snap your fingers in your real life body. You give me a. I'd say this is kind of like a yeah, I'd say an athletics or acrobatics check, because this is kind of a body sensation, like bodily control thing.
Nat 20 gets you doing a flip from
Um,
a sitting position.
Yeah.
Nat 20, you
like-
snap your fingers to make Jamal come.
You're like,
Well,
snap my
It would
fingers.
help.
Goes, what the
It would
fuck
probably
is
help him
happening?
right now, relief.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like, put cat in front of my open, unseeing eyes so that I
Mhm.
can see them and like cross-reference the map that May is drawing and say that we're accurate. Anyway, yes. 12. Bad.
With a 12, you snap your fingers, and you can kind of sort of hear Jamal talking to you like from a great distance. You're having trouble like splitting what you're doing in the death realm with what you're doing in your body. You know, from what Kekino was saying, that everything you say in the death realm, you are like mumbling in real life. But once you try to focus, on like getting that message across, like speaking more in your real body than with your soul. You can't tell like what effect it's having, but you're not getting cat immediately. Time passes, you're trying to like understand Jamal and like split that sense of perception from your body here, and then eventually you feel just like a weight in your hand, and although you cannot like see it, you're having trouble being like, okay, and now I see with my real eyes, not my other eyes. You feel that an object has been placed in your hand, and maybe it is cat.
Okay. Well, let's see what May's maps are like.
Okay. With an 18, May is struggling with making the map align with what she's seeing, because while she knows, generally speaking, where you should be coming in, nothing seems to be exactly like the terrain that she's seeing, and that's because May is not seeing the terrain accurately. May is having to peel through the illusions of what's happening. So while Cal can only
May's like,
see,
okay, so the landmark of the giant walking skull with little
Yes.
bone legs, I'm not seeing it here. And
It-
Cal's like, the what?
it is genuinely like Cal sees a faceless like cliffside encircling you with the one route out, and May sees like, okay, there's a couple of caves, and then there's a low spot over there that might be a trail. There's a really tall mountain in the distance, so I can use that as a reference point. And it's just kind of this
Don't
like,
forget the alligator.
yeah, is this problem of being like, okay, this doesn't totally match up to anything that it's supposed to be. Like, this says we'd be over here, but this says we'd be over here, and I'm not seeing this part at all. But you finally like take the map with an 18, and you kind of like arrange it in your head of being like, no, that shape is right. That the landmarks are not lining up like I think they should, but the shape is right, and you get a sense of the immediate area. You navigating is going to be fairly difficult because you are not necessarily seeing exactly what is there, and so your map does not match your subjective reality. But you are able to puzzle through and quickly sketch a sketch of the sort of crater you landed in and a pathway to the first shrine. Things get a little more confusing over there. You have a problem of scale of being like, okay, we go to the first shrine and then there's a mountain right next to it. Is that like it's like a 20-minute walk, or is it like a 3-day walk? Like, is there things in the way? You kind of like the farther away you get from your current location, things start to become a little more iffy, but you kind of know the shape of what it should look like, and you've got a decent amount of detail for your immediate area.
Given that back in the library when Cal and everyone was doing research on what was going to be dangerous as part of the Death Realm, was part of that information that, like, it's very possible they would not see it properly? Does May understand that? Yeah, okay, cool. So May knows it. She's like, oh!
Yeah, that is one of those things where it's like, May definitely came across it in like research about the travel logs and stories and stuff like that. For necromancers, it's like such base level knowledge that they like don't talk or write about it because they're writing for a necromantic audience. It's like it's genuinely like if left-handed people were everywhere and then suddenly left-handedness like didn't exist anymore, nobody would have thought to write down about left-handed people existing because obviously it's
the Roman concrete recipe.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's exactly like the Roman concrete recipe of like everybody knows that, so we don't need to bother to write it down. You kind of had that problem of being like necromancers writing for necromancers is like that's too obvious to consider.
Knowledge.
But you got it because you were specifically looking at travelogues, including by like non-necromancers. You did get a sense of like it fucks with your head, it makes things wrong, and talking to Sinner and Sinner describing his trip to death and being like, yeah, there were giant faceless ones that were trying to grab me and eat me, and Cal being like, that's not true.
May now like, my alligator is way fucking cooler than whatever the fuck you saw.
Yeah.
This is sick. Okay, yeah, anyway, so...
And with that, you, I think as you consider that, you realize that if you can't trust what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what's going on around you, you can't trust if that figure you saw was actually the Barghest watching you or another illusion.
Okay.
But we all saw it, so...
Well, I said May saw it. That said something.
Cool, so May's done her map.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. She's going to immediately start on the idea we talked about last session of how to ward us against necromantic damage.
Okay. That is going to take some time to set up. Time in which Tinnitus and possibly Anharkin, who seems to be following him, will get a head start, and time in which Cal's protection will continue to fray. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying there is a time cost associated with it.
I thought we were.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
We do it on the road. I have a bit of a crazy idea, but I'm going to run it by you, Patrick. Would you say that Fish's Force Ghost form is a bit like being underwater, movement-wise?
I think it's a little like floatier than that. Like you're not buoyant, but you can't like in this metaphor you're not buoyant, so you can't like fly in this realm, but you do seem to be able to be like okay, stretch up. Oh, my feet are several inches off the ground. Like it doesn't, you don't seem to be as like physically limited as the others because you are not all the way here. You are kind of in an in-between place.
Okay, so buoyant, no, but swimmy?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, and Kekano is here. and Kekano moves fastest in water.
Mhm.
So my thought is that we've previously had Cal do a shadow sled to like transport luggage and such.
Mhm.
What if we made Kekano into the sled hound, and he pulled the shadow sled, and so that makes us go faster. So cutting down on travel time a little bit. And so during travel time, that's when May can work on her thing.
You think that theoretically that could work to your understanding of how the Death Realm works, but you would need to like kind of get Cal on board and be like, okay, use your magic this way to do this. But you are kind of like logically, I don't see a reason why it wouldn't work. That doesn't mean it's going to work, but that means like, hey, you know what? It passes the sniff test. This could be a thing.
Mooney, Ellie, what do you think?
Well,
Why the fuck not?
while you're deciding this, Cal has gotten Tails' attention. And she steps a little bit closer to you. She seems to be kind of anxious about like getting too far away from Tinnitus. Not like Tinnitus is going to protect her, but like it'll be noticed. But she steps a little closer to you, and is now within like soft speaking distance without Tinnitus hearing.
Cal is like, no, girl, we don't even have the time for this. So she's not even like interrogating. She thinks she picked up that she's like, oh no, he's going away, about being like, okay, so you're not just like telling him to fuck off. And so she's like, do you think he would detect my magic on you?
No, I don't think so.
And then she
ambient noise.
Sorry, what was that last bit?
There's too much ambient noise.
Okay. Cal casts Pass Without Trace on everybody, including her.
Thank you, Collisionist.
Alright, well, go, and I guess you can explain this to me if we both survive.
She gives like a very soft smile and tries to straighten up and kind of put on a brave face, and she says as she kind of like turns and starts to walk away, she says, "Thank you for trying to save me, sister. I think in this case, even if I'm not the most powerful, I can at least try to save you." And she kind of like hurries out and follows Tinnitus.
I was like, all these deranged bitches, what the fuck?
Yeah, what are you guys doing? Are you gonna try and figure this out on the move? Are you going to head out? You're gonna try and shoot Tinnitus in the back, because he is still in attacking range, although he's getting farther away now.
No, that's too much energy expended. I think we should figure it out on the move. As Fish explains, they're in their stupid shadow sled, Kekano led concept to Cal.
Yeah, I can do it.
Should we also maybe wait to see which direction they're heading in? Just while we're sorting Cal out.
I mean, it's kind of like there seems to be one direction towards.
There's one direction to get out of this place, but there's
Yeah,
also a big arrow like on the wall in that direction, and you're like, okay, what are the chances being like it's literally follow the arrow versus like the arrow is a trap?
I'm more thinking like if we know roughly.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. My thing is more like if we know roughly where the shrine in a specific
Why
order.
are you cutting out so much?
If we know roughly where the shrine is,
if we know roughly where the shrines are, why do we need to actually go to them in a specific and put ourselves in potential tinnitus before.
You with that 18 cartography check, because you were also told like what shrines you had to go to, they form like not fully a line, but kind of like a route. The one that you need to get to, like the final test, is like the farthest away, and so it's
Okay.
like you could theoretically like skip the others and go to the end and try and go back. It's like cutting a really dangerous corner, essentially.
Yeah.
You
I
might
was
be able
thinking
to
it might
save
be
time,
like
but with
a-
significantly
yeah.
more danger. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Worth a shot, but okay.
Yeah, you're not like making a circle. You're going out and coming back in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, May is all for the shadow sled.
Yeah,
She
Cal
thinks
is
it's
like,
great.
I don't have the time to shoot you guys down. I need to at least get you guys as far as possible before I die. So she's like, whatever. Yes, sure, fine.
Okay. Well, how much time has passed in the 45 minutes? Because I would like to. Perhaps it's time to spend spell points.
About 5 minutes or so. Even less, probably.
Would you like a 15 minutes on top of that?
I mean, it's as you guys kind of need. Cal would not be asking for anything.
Cal seems to be taking the
okay,
opinion of like, well, I'll die, but I'll just try to keep you guys alive as long as
Yeah.
possible. And it's also a thing of
Okay.
like, you can wait until she's almost out and then give her 15 minutes and kind of like extend as needed. But maybe 15 minutes at the beginning would be
Yeah, surely a
some
front
comfort.
load is the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I would like to use 2 spell points to give her a half hour.
Okay. You take these fragments of magic that are coming off her body, and you stretch your own magic out and connect with them, and sort of weave them back in. It's almost like the mending spell that Cal does, just on a metaphysical scale. As to Cal's perspective, her arms that were so rapidly shedding this magic, this breakdown, this flakes of energy, it slows significantly and the pieces are smaller, but still like the same amount coming off her head, coming off her feet, like a fish. Fish slowed it down, and Cal can see that something is different, but not everywhere, just in like some parts. And you are essentially, functionally, you are using this spell point over 15 minutes to be just kind of like, no, get back here, put that in.
Yeah.
Oh, got another piece, put that back in. You're kind of
Yeah.
like working during this time to keep her alive, to pause the clock.
Okay. And Kakano's instruction is, buddy, this is a world that isn't entirely real, but also is, but the rules are made up so we can do what we want. So
Yeah,
you
because
just
all
go
rules
as
are made
fast
up.
as you go as fast as you fucking can, and you can do it, because you can.
Okay.
Kekno grows like really realistic, muscular man like. I keep making this joke, and Patrick keeps shutting me down. You gonna shut me down this time, bitch?
Yes.
Tekken is like sinner on leg day, sinner on leg day.
Think about Sinner, ready to get May.
Big
Yeah.
legs.
Kekano
Sprinting
is
down the freeway.
Kekano is like all ready and willing. Cal has to kind of do the work of like lashing together some shadows. As Cal goes to make this shadow sled, what does she do?
Like magically?
Yeah, like before when it was a shadow sled, she, I believe, took like a board or a door or something and just used her little necromantic like shadows walking that she does on her trunk, but did it on like super speed kind of to make the sled. Do you try to do like the same thing and maybe like make a basket or whatever? What magically do you do to create this sled?
How much is this a realm of imagination?
It is not, but it is a realm of image in a way.
Yeah.
There is this thing about being like this is not a realm of imagination at all. But
Mhm.
you as a soul are pure like sense of self, pure self-image. So if there's anything that's kind of like shaped by imagination, it's you, but only to a limited extent,
Yeah.
as the world is kind of like pushing back against your imagination.
How much spare bones we talking?
You don't see any bones in this area
No
at all.
bones. All
And
right.
there, you have seen Into Death before. You know there is a decent amount of like weird little bone chips, including from non-human entities in Death. So it seems like that's purposeful if it's not in this area.
May could do a mold earth and bring out some stone.
I think if Cal is mostly feeling like this is like a creation of more of an extension of self as opposed to things to mold, and honestly I'm like, if we don't have any skeleton horses for me to use, I think she would
I mean, there
imagine
might be
kind
skeleton
of,
horses, just not here, right here.
yeah, no, we're gonna channel Katya Coover. I would imagine she gives everybody cool little shadow ice skates.
Okay.
And then they're all like attached to Kekino, like they all have like a
A
Kekino
little
leash,
leash.
and they're on shadow ice skates. If that's the easiest way to kind of like be a manipulation of self, then yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay.
I'm not giving people shadow rollerblades, even though if that makes more sense, because she has no context for that.
Skates are good.
As you reach out and try and create this shadow, these shadow constructs, you're putting on little blades of shadow for the ice skates, little leashes for Kekino, and instead what you create is like giant stalagmites of shadow spearing out of the ground, big whipping tendrils that seem alive and reaching for Kekino. And you realize that you are using death magic in the realm of death. Big things are a lot easier than they were in the real world, and very like delicate small things takes much more concentration and power than you are expecting. So as you really kind of like rein it in, you find that the shadows warp and move in ways that you don't expect. The leashes on Kekino are kind of like slightly wiggling like they're alive, but you do manage to like rein it in enough to create this ice skate Kekino scenario.
Cool. Sometimes, Patrick, you put me on the spot, and I'm like, I'm about to say the stupidest shit you've ever seen after my girl Rekka.
You know what? That's fine.
It's what you want.
Yeah.
You sicko.
D&D is about putting wild ideas and seeing what works. As you all lash to Kekino, Kekino goes,
All right. Where are we going?
Down the map. Study the map. Look at it. Remember it.
Okay.
And go down the one way that there is currently.
I'll remember because it kind of looks like a flounder.
Again, Cal's like, try to keep to Tinnitus's back. And Harkin and Tail will try to intervene if he tries to kill me, but to only so much extent.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
Cal's gonna try and cast on basically like an ice. So Kekino's feel canonically.
Yeah.
Cast like an ice
An ice grease.
frame. She's gonna fucking go full Elsa of like running
Yeah.
up the stairs, and she's doing that. Yeah, she's gonna. If she's like, you can do big magic, then she's gonna do like a long flat sheet of like slippery shadow, in front of Kekno, so he can do a slide, which is a thing that seals do. So
He's going. It's always funny to see Rob dancing in the mirror. And you're embarrassed, and so you turn off your camera. Kekino seems to be struggling because every time he pulls you, one or more of you immediately like hit a divot in a bone outline, and then you're stuck, and you have to like take a step up and get back on flat ground again before he immediately pulls you into another ditch. So as soon as you get this flat sheet, he starts able to like consistently pull and starts picking up speed, and you start going. It is not particularly graceful, and I need everyone to give me a dexterity saving throw as you start getting a little bit of speed and head into the first very slight turn out of this canyon.
Sorry, Rob was harassing me. What
Yeah,
check am I doing?
Dexterity saving throw. The DC is 10 to not immediately fall and hurt yourself, and 12 to like fully keep your feet and keep your speed.
Cool, I got an 8.
That's 16.
Okay, 16.
Oh, rip. May spends a lot of her time at roller skating rinks, I guess.
oh lord.
Can I argue
9.
that because Fish is not physically there, I mean, like, that none of them are physical. They're a force ghost, so they can't trip.
Yeah. What happens is Kekino is ready to go. It takes you a little bit while to kind of get your feet underneath you, but then you start flying. The canyon starts curving, and all of a sudden the bone impressions wear out. You've all seen some like strange movement, some shadows in the sky, some movement like out of the corner of your eyes. May is seeing is hallucinating a much more like active area, but there is still something there. As soon as you pass out of where the bones impressions are, as soon as you're kind of like out of the canyon, so to speak, suddenly you are in like a busy sector. There are flying, weird, rat-like reptilian creatures. There are floating skulls with flaming eyes. There are shambling oozes of what seem like liquefied human remains slowly moving across the landscape. And it seems like you are leaving, well, as they said, a protected area where you first come in that these things couldn't reach. And as soon as you start to turn this corner and end up in a much busier area, Kekino has to turn. May is focused enough to kind of get into sliding position and take
May
that
is
turn.
was it slaloming? Whatever the fuck it
Yeah,
is.
is slaloming.
Thank you.
Cal bends her knees and manages to stay upright, but only barely, as she hits a divot, like fucks up one of her knees, and then almost falls. Fish starts to stumble very slightly, is swinging towards a big boulder in the way that Kekino is swinging around to avoid, tries to brace themselves, fully like passes through the boulder like a ghost, and therefore like swings way too wide and kind of fucks up everyone's balance as the tether pulls everyone slightly as Fish braces for a damage that didn't happen. You both take 2 points of damage, just little chip damage as you're hurtling around, and suddenly you are out and about. The mountains fall away to a greater series of canyons and caves. May is, of course, seeing caves where there aren't any, and rock walls where there should be caves. Creatures, little demonic imps flying in to attack her, that sometimes actually exist in the form of a creature that doesn't look like that but is there trying to swoop in that you have to duck out of the way, and other times entirely a hallucination. You realize pretty quickly that this method of travel is a little louder, a little more obvious, and you were certainly getting more attention from these denizens.
With a big pass that trace, Patrick.
Yes, I'm saying I'm going to make you roll stealth checks. Just give me a minute.
Okay.
Let me finish talking.
No.
And you very quickly catch up to Tinnitus and the others. Tinnitus and the others have kind of adapted like a not too dissimilar like stilt walking technique, where every time they take a step it's like shadows lengthen in them, and they're taking like 5-foot steps each as they kind of like it kind of like pushes them farther, and they're getting faster and faster, but you like immediately overtake them as soon as you're on slightly flat ground. Everybody give me a stealth check.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay.
That's a 19.
Okay.
That's a 34.
Okay.
16.
16.
Thank
the
you, natural 19.
Yes, the 34 definitely covers for the 16. You realize that you are moving with a speed and energy that things can seemingly kind of sort of tell where you are, but keep missing. You see a what looks to be a skull with like large leathery bat wings dive bomb seemingly for you and miss by like 5 feet and shatter itself against a rock wall, of being like, things can see you're there but you're never quite where they expect you to be, as you're this kind of shifting and boiling mass of shadows running across the landscape.
Can Fish pluck one of these bat-winged skulls out of the sky to like lob at Tinnitus? And it's like, well, we didn't do anything. The skull went for you. Like,
I was gonna say, can May mold Earth beneath Tinnitus's stilts?
Yeah, I was like, guys, focus on keeping me alive and going fast. And they're like, yeah, we crossed our fingers. Let's kill that bitch.
You both can certainly try.
May should be focusing.
Down. Fish really fucking thinks about it, but it's like probably couldn't like touch the thing anyway since I went through the boulder.
Fish is thinking about it, and Kekanu goes, "Yeah, you promised."
Yeah, you promised.
It's like,
you promised you'd bring me a souvenir. Catch it.
While this is happening, we've got a little bit of travel time as you round a corner, and Tinnitus and the others are out of sight for just a moment. May is desperately trying to navigate as things are moving past, and she is not really realistically seeing what's happening, but the first shrine is comparatively close, and you mapped that area out very well. So you rather quickly start to feel something on the horizon, or at least Cal does. A little bit of lightning, a little bit of comfort in a way that you don't expect. While this travel time is happening, which will take a little bit of time, Fish, can you tell me what your instructions, what you're trying to do with Beliala and Jamal. You are still like, but your spirit is like, and then Jamal sees you sitting cross-legged in the cell, being like, as you're just kind of like breathing heavy under your breath, with Kekino with his eyes closed in your lap, and still holding Cat as you were like handed it and have not done anything with it. You hear kind of like you hear a little bit of like an annoying like buzzing in your ears until it sort of kind of resolves into speech, and as you're trying to split your focus, you hear from far away Jamal being like, did it work? Did you find them? Did you find her?
Uh, and
I thought you asked for Cat like maybe like a minute ago, and you haven't done anything since. But you're rocking a lot. Can you hear me? Hello?
so this is like a distant voice. So even
Yes,
though
and
they are
it's like
physically right next to each other, Fish
yes.
turns and like shouts in his face. Like, are you not watching the mirror?
As you try and like creak open one eye, like split your focus, you can see just like a little corner of the mirror from where you're standing, and you see the back of the cleric who's kind of like watching you all in the jail cell. He's not really watching you as he should, and is instead watching the mirror. It looks like a movie that is like someone is randomly fast forwarding and pausing. Like you see you're seeing Tinnitus and the others like walking forward, and then it'll cut to you, and you'll see yourself going, and it's just like kind of a blur, and you're like, oh, okay. I think maybe Jamal just doesn't understand what's going on. It's hard to recognize those blurs as people.
Okay, so from that, it's like, yeah, we're fine, we're on the move. Denier is fading away, but I can kind of make it so that's not the case. But we are going to make it, and it's all going to be fine. You just sit there.
Fish, this is Cleric Ishida Beliala. Is there anything we can do to help the High Cleric's situation and assist you in keeping her stable?
Yeah, the tether was murdered.
Cleric Beliala.
So, yeah, hi Beliala, it's good to hear from you. CC, adding a meme image that I think you'd enjoy. There's a tether. The tether cleric was murdered. Please get help.
Reply to what you were saying. I don't understand the motion you were trying to do with your hands. I don't know if that translated. We'll explore the murdered tether and see if there's any way to restore that connection. Sincerely, Cleric Ishida Beliala. And she kind of steps away for a moment. You can kind of hear a like talking to each other as Jamal and Beliala discuss something for just a moment, but it's kind of too far away from you, and your attention is too focused on not flying through another boulder / getting a skull bat to the face for you to kind of keep track of what they're doing and what's going on. But you sort of feel and hear movement around your physical body. You can choose to pay attention to that and try to figure out what's going on with Jamal and Beliala, or you can focus on yourself with staying upright and keeping with the others.
Could I come back, but Kakano staying?
Yeah. It's essentially a shifting of attention.
Okay. All right. So, Fish lets May and Cal know, like, hold on, I'm just gonna partially fade out of existence for a second, but it's on purpose. Don't worry. And tries to focus more on the actual physical life realm.
Okay.
As they fade out, it's not
yeah,
that they disappear, they just T-pose.
Yeah, that's what I was actually going to say. You see, I was genuinely going to say that. You see, like the tether fishes, like wrapped around Fish's waist, just immediately cut through Fish's ghost image as they go into a T pose and just like slam into a wall and disappear, poofing into dust. And you actually see
Oh my god!
Kekino is like, Dad, and starts to like fade just a little bit. You're like, oh, Fish needs to return and like be here for Kekino to stay here, but there is a little time where they can go back and forth without fucking it up. As you focus on the real world, you see. Actually, you know what? Give me a perception check as you're trying to like rapidly like sync your eyes up to your physical world rather than your mental one.
Oh, I'm rolling like shit today. That's 13.
Okay. Beliala is trying to physically attack Jamal. Is like climbed onto his back with an arm around his neck, like trying to choke him out. You see that. There is a book on the ground that Beliala, you've seen her that she's been reading recently, and it's open, and a bunch of like pages have been removed. You can see it's just like open, and you can see it's like page 34 is like the first page there, while Jamal is trying to has like seemingly stuffed a bunch of paper in the door lock, and the door is starting to pop open. You're seeing all of this in slow motion as Beliala tries to kill him for damaging her book, and your guard is distracted by the commotion and is coming over to investigate. They are doing an escape plan. Jamal may not have asked for permission before damaging Beliala's book, and this is a genuine fight, or it may be just a scuffle of a distraction. It's also possible Jamal asked and Beliala said no, and Jamal said, "This is an emergency. I need to do it anyway."
I'm gonna leave them to it. How can I get the door open faster?
You think in order to get the door open faster and like get them out, you may be able to. You would need to like stand up, get out of meditation, go over and like help them, but that would like really interrupt your soul sending and probably cause Kekino to disappear. You may be able to focus on doing like a spell or a attack or something from where you're sitting to try to affect this situation that is happening, even possibly like something to distract the guard further.
Okay. I think a potential for the door could be a pulse wave pull in. Otherwise, I've got no fucking ideas. I really am stumped.
It's up to you. This is like to give you a sense of what's going on. It's like a old school like Western movie jail cell of like there's a wall of bars and then a big like bar gate with a huge old-timey lock in it, and Jamal is using magic to like force the lock open essentially.
Fuck it, break the lock. Blasphemous darts the lock.
Okay. Blasphemous darts, give me a damage roll. The actual damage won't really matter that much, but kind of generally, whether it's low or high.
Yes. Low. 2, 2, and wait. Oh, 2, 2, and 9 actually.
Okay, so more like medium
Yeah.
damage then. Then as you raise your hand, you're kind of like squinting one eye open to be able to keep track of what's going on in the death while focusing on your real life body. Jamal is stuffing these papers into the lock, and the papers kind of like shift and compact, and you hear as the lock like pops open and the door starts to swing. Your blasphemous darts hits the lock at that exact moment. It's already unlocked, and so you knock the door and it swings open really fast, clips the necromancer that is coming running to check on this, knocks him to the ground as Jamal jumps over on him and is like putting. Honestly, it's pretty horrifying and may make you rethink harassing Jamal. He pushes pages of paper over this guy's face that his magic forms into like a solid paper mask with no air holes, and you see the guy struggling as Jamal is like desperately trying to hold him down and also possibly crying. Hard to tell from this angle, as this guy is like suffocated and starts like passing out. And Beliala has gotten off Jamal and has readied shadow spears in her hands, looking like she's going to kill Jamal. And he, sitting on top of this guy, still like struggling to get him out, and says, "We can deal with this later. Cal is in danger."
And Fish, like to the best of their ability, like whaps at where Beliala is, just to be like, yeah, fucking cut that out.
She looks once more at her book that Jamal ruined, and its pages stuffed into a lock and on a guy's face who is now passed out, and Jamal is now like ripping the paper to give him an air hole so he doesn't die. Beliala stomps out of the room and closes it behind her. Looks like she's going off to investigate.
Okay. Fish tells Jamal, we're headed to the shrines. We'll find a more permanent way to keep Denier stable. And, but do what you can out here to see what you can do to possibly bring her back, like summon her back to her body.
Okay, I'll do what I can. I'll do research. I'll try and slip out, and hopefully no one can see me, and try to find some answers in the library.
Good luck.
Yeah, keep her safe. And really kind of like breaking out in a nervous sweat, Jamal heads off too. You are alone in a jail cell still with a semi-conscious necromancer, and probably fade back into the death realm.
Yeah. You know
Fish
what?
decides to kill that guy as a prank. About like, wouldn't it be so funny if Jamal comes back and he was dead?
Yeah, he'd freak out. He's like, "Oh my god, I killed that guy." That'd be hilarious.
In my anger, I killed him.
That would be really funny. That would be really funny, and also potentially helpful, because if this guy wakes up and is an asshole, no, not yet. Just be sleeping over there. Don't do anything.
As you slip back into the realm of death, to Fish's perspective, it has been like maybe a minute and a half. To Cal and May's perspective, it has fully been like 20 minutes before Fish reapparates with you and takes up the lead to follow behind Kekino. And you are approaching the shrine that is going to hopefully protect you. As you turn the corner heading out of this canyon, you've had to cut through some places, and you notice the ground is getting noticeably more sloped the farther on you get. It seemed flat when you came in, but now it is like noticeably at an angle. And as you come around the corner, you feel like you have to compensate for the sled sliding in ways you didn't expect as you see the shrine for the first time. Its entire world is seemingly made of gray sand, gray stone, black sky. So it's immediately noticeable when there is what looks cut and chiseled pillar of white marble ahead of you. I do think May actually sees like I think May sees this as kind of like a large like pharaoh statue, like one of the big statues of like Ramses II or something. Like something like obviously can see through the illusion that this is like an important place that is
May is
exaggerated
like,
in view. Oh my god! Take a photo! I gotta show people! May, what are you talking about? As you turn this corner and see this, there is sort of a clear space around it. Not like a flat space, not like a hewn space. This pillar is kind of like in the middle of a wall. It's going straight up and down, but clearly its base is like partially buried. And the area around it is immediately clear, but at a distance of maybe 10 feet from it, you see a wall of things. And standing right in the middle,
what was that?
a hooded figure, staff in hand, standing there. Around it, sort of shadow-like beings in the suggestion of screaming faces and bodies contorting in pain. And you are headed right towards this thing. What do you do?
May leans over and is like, that's a hallucination, right? I'm just seeing that.
No, that's a guy. That's the Bargus.
Oh! Great!
What if
goodness.
we
He's got a horn.
knock it? What if we just bowl him over?
You are having this discussion while he is like rapidly getting closer as you're still going full stream ahead. So unless you're like, let's stop and discuss this, it's kind of like make a decision really fast or we're gonna be in combat.
Okay, Kekino, hit the brakes.
You got it.
Kekino overcorrects and kind of rolls a little bit as he slips out of the shadows, and like the entire construct kind of falls apart as you all stop here and you are on foot.
Can we just do that Fish like just spam unsummons and then resummons him back over here just so it just so that it doesn't have to be traveled on him?
Fish does like a speed run hack and is like, I'm gonna just blaze through the wall.
Yeah.
Ass
Fish
backwards
goes,
like
if
in
I
Mario
go into
64.
this specific corner, I can glitch into the skybox.
Yeah. Hold on,
How's
we don't have
Cal?
to fight this boss.
Yeah, does Kel need to top off?
Kekino is not too far away from you, not enough that resummoning him would make sense. You can kind of just get her over to you real fast. Cal probably has before Fish's intervention would have had about 25 minutes or so left of this protection, and with Fish's intervention, has another half hour on top of that.
Okay. Cal will, when they like skid to a stop, Cal's gonna be like, I don't have any intention of fighting it, and I don't think it would be wise to. We either avoid it or we hope that we are not something it's interested in killing. She looks at Fish and says, you said it was mostly something that avenged the martyred, right? Is that right? I'm sorry, it's been a couple weeks.
Not necessarily the martyred, but somebody who came to the other side so full of the desire for revenge that they latched on even when they shouldn't be able to do that. And the wind of death stripping away all of their humanity, all of their love and affection, anything but this hatred and desire for revenge, until only this creature survived.
Yeah, which Fish translated as a creature of pure, unquenchable vengeance.
As you stop and are observing this, give me a perception check for the group. We'll do an average of the whole group, so May can't skew it too much.
That's so fucking rude, Patrick. It's not my fault you allowed this build.
And because you know I'm rolling bad today, how dare you? That's
That's a 19.
Hold on. I thought I had misplaced.
Just to confirm, I know we got to follow this route, but when they were giving us the induction or whatever, do we actually need to physically do something at each shrine?
No, it is absolutely.
Yeah, okay, so
you need to get something from the last shrine in this route. What you were told is that the shrines are safe places. They're places to rest and recover, places where the realm of death isn't going to eat away at you, where you can survive. That is the gift the saints have done, is creating these waypoints for lost souls to be better guided into death.
We're putting Cal in there for a good while at least.
Putting her in the fridge.
Yeah,
I got a 13.
A 13. Okay. With a 13, the that's decent perception, but not stupendous. You sort of see through these creatures the outline of where this quote unquote safe area is. And as one seems to drift a little too close to it, kind of sizzles a little bit and rebounds, and you're like, okay, this is actually probably safe from creatures, in addition to being safe from the realm of death that includes other stuff that's here. You also see that now that you have stopped, these shadowy beings are spreading out. They were almost, when you saw them,
restart.
combined.
We're just gonna go around and keep doing and go into the shrine ASAP.
Cat is gonna when you rev an engine really quick and the wheels skid.
Yeah,
we're not letting them create a horizon of Huns. Okay,
that's kind of how they were already. They were a solid band. Now they're starting to drift apart into individuals a little bit to get closer to you and floating closer. The Bargist you see in front of you waits until you have stopped, and then takes one step forward, another. Little rings on its staff jingling as it steps forward, and it has this kind of like hunched shoulders, like hunting posture of being like it's going to come at you if you don't move pretty fast.
Yeah, so let's just fucking scoot on round and get into the shrine. Please.
Does May's walloping ammunition come with her?
May's walloping ammunition does not, because that is
Okay.
tied to an item. Yeah.
I was gonna send this man flying.
Taking an inspiration from Tinnitus and Co., I'm kind of thinking about making, like, sending us all shooting up really high into the sky on, like, a pillar of rock, and then, like, sledding again down a ramp straight at the foot of the,
Roller coaster. Yeah.
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 So, yeah, once Fish is like, okay, let's keep moving!
Yeah.
Gal's gonna just do that. Why not? There's no time to think about whether or not that's a good idea. She's just gonna
Okay.
do that. So basically, elevator, big platform, try to shoot us straight at the entrance to the temple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the way that this happens is that it's like chat, what are we gonna do? We're gonna ram into him. Hold on, we should probably stop. No, we're restarting.
I do want you to know that because I am working with little kids, I had a small child say, "Chat, is that true?" to me in real life.
Oh,
Your chat.
Yeah,
the whole
I'm chat.
time.
I was chat the whole
chat
time.
Stop
Patrick.
bullying Germa, please.
I'll bully whoever I want. Go ahead and give me a Arcana check for Cal.
Thank you, dice gods that solely give me good rolls during fucking Arcana and religion. They say fuck you every other time.
min-maxing.
Straight up. That is a 30.
Jesus.
Cool. Well, that beats the opposed 23 by the Bargist. You send everyone up on a elevator, angle a platform to kind of like slide you into this sanctuary. The Bargist raises its staff and kind of like slashes at your shadows, and your shadows entirely disappear. But you already set up enough of an angle that you kind of slide over these shades and land pretty hard but safely within the safe zone. Not right next to the pillar, more like the edge. You kind of like roll over and you see a screaming, tortured face like 2 inches away from you trying to push in. But you are safe, although hurt. Everybody please roll a yeah, you had to get pretty high to get over them, so we'll say a D8 for damage, bludgeoning damage.
That's a 5 for May.
What was the modifier on that?
No modifier, just a D8.
Oh, okay, thank God.
Yeah, it's
D8.
just damage.
May's, does armor not come into it at all?
Nope. It's pure fall damage.
Ah,
Any protection you get from the armor is balanced out by the weight of a bunch of steel essentially falling on you.
Okay,
Always
so
love
just take the 5 off then.
good Sinbad appreciation. Yep. Do record your 5 damage. And for Mooney?
Hold on, sorry.
I mean, Proteus is very Jamal coded.
Yeah. Mmm.
The only thing is I
Which
can't
does-
imagine Cal
which
stowing
ma-
away in a ship. Or maybe she could actually
Yeah,
for the
Cal's not-
situation.
Cal is not Marina in personality, but
No,
you
in
know.
role only.
Yeah. But Fish is Sinbad, sorry.
Okay, that was a 2. Cal is like, oh my god, am I way better at necromancy than I was the whole time?
Cal lands in like the 3-point like Spider-Man stance, and the other two just absolutely faceplant into the rock next to her.
So I'm imagining that Cal is like, I've got an idea. Doesn't brief anyone, doesn't warn either of them.
Yeah.
No, she
Just
didn't
sends the
say
flag.
anything. Fish is like, let's keep going. And she went, okay. And then you guys are suddenly going at like 50 miles
Mach
per hour
3.
into the air.
All right. As you are in this safe zone now, close to the edge, kind of picking yourself up and moving away from these haunted, screaming faces. You you get clear and you don't see the Bargist.
And he goes, oh.
Turn around on the other side, maybe 20 feet from where you saw him last. Pressed up against this barrier,
Ew.
big furry hands with claws seeming to pierce through into the sanctuary.
This guy's a creep.
And this is the first time you can actually like get a look at him if you want to.
I'd like to.
Perception time.
Perception time.
We lost a sound.
Yeah. Every once in a while, Kenku just fails and stops playing sound until I restart it. I don't know why.
Um, 10.
Okay.
I think
25.
The quality of my rolls are directly proportional to how recently a cat pissed in my bed.
I was gonna say the quality of sleep you got.
I never sleep well, you know this.
Your dice can tell.
Just so it's not 25, that's a 26, if that makes a difference.
Okay.
I was not planning on rolling. I'm sorry. My fucking D20 rolled off into oblivion, I guess.
Do you
Girl,
need to
where are
borrow?
you? Rolled a 19, and then she went, all right, I'm retired for the evening, actually.
Bye. Good night.
Do you need to come borrow a D20 for the rest of the session?
Maybe, because I was like digging through my bag earlier, and it was not. But I also don't trust your dice. I don't think they'll work with me.
Yeah. Maybe not.
Minnie, you're about to be the Bargus, like, looking under your bed for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And when you go there, be under your bed.
well, how about you guys roll with those perceptions, and I'm just gonna look real quick.
Yeah. I mean, you could say that Cal is distracted by being in a sanctuary for the
Cal's
first time.
focusing just like magically having,
Mhm.
recovered.
Sorry, I just flashed back to there's an old interview with Eminem on I think like Jimmy Kimmel or something like that, where he goes, "If I sign merch for you and I find it on eBay later, when you get home, I'm gonna be under your bed." I was like, "That's the energy we're going for." But yes, with a 26 and a 10, I believe.
The Bargist rolling up. Well, this looks like a jump for me.
This looks like a job for me. What? Just follow me.
Got frosted tips under there.
Yeah. He turns his staff over, and you see what you thought was like a little butt cap, and he pulls it up as a little mic, a little mic stand.
This really is hell.
This really is hell. He's gonna do stand up for the entire. He can't reach you physically, so he's gonna do bad stand up the entire time you're there. Stand up and freestyle rap. With a 26, you see under the hood what was once a person, a snarling face, not like entirely an anthropologic wolf, not exactly Death from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, but instead like a human face with human skin that had been distended into a snout, fur growing in patches but not enough to cover the human features, and a big mismatched jaw and set of teeth. Fish is, I think, focused on the like body, not being able to see under the hood with a 10. You see the like digigrade legs, the dog-like legs that bend the wrong way under this robe, the large paws with killing claws on it. And May is the only one who can see like the humanity left in the eyes, and because it was a 26, a little glimmer of red in the like mangy, rangy fur of the neck. You're not like close enough to know what it is, but there's something there, kind of like in the fur.
May's gonna go close. Decent distance, keeping out of arm's reach, but we'll also see if she can go closer and like me, Ellie. Oh, it's like the big red eye that you shoot when you.
It's the boss's weak point.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's where you have to shoot arrows in Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
As you are seeing this and stepping forward, and Kekino goes, May, where are you going? May, that's the scary direction. Don't go that way.
Just having a look, Kekino.
Cal is instead focused on her immediate surroundings. That feeling you felt, that sense of rightness, of comfort, of warmth when you didn't know you were cold, has been calling to you. And as soon as you cross this threshold, it hits you like a blow in the face. Being here in this sanctuary feels so right. You almost feel like there is another necromancer standing behind you, a lost saint who gave up his power to create this way station for travelers and lost souls, keeping you company, putting a hand on your shoulder, telling you it's going to be okay. And deeper in, a vibration, a call, a shift, like an earthquake when you're 100 miles too far away to actually feel it. Something that feels familiar. Something that feels right. Something that feels like Elise.
I was planning on doing this anyways, but this is a good segue. Cal will turn to Fish and be like, do you think I can borrow your magic while you're disconnected like this?
I don't see any harm in trying.
Cal puts like a handout. A handout to hold.
Yeah, takes it firmly.
Cal's going to look for her connection with Elise because when she tried to do this last time around Christmas, she just got nothingness. So now that they're on the same, like, planar realm, she's trying again.
Okay. You feel something, but it's not quite strong enough. It's drawing you forward, drawing you towards the pillar. Not a physical object, not really, but a manifestation of a sacrifice made by another necromancer in death. Whatever raw form it once took, it has now been carved with a pictogram of some sort. Recognize the descriptions. Not writing, not quite. Something more universal for these. But you recognize a famous image of a Saint Salivar carrying a bundle of arrows and a skull. And you know whose shrine this is, or whose shrine this was given, as those of the necropolis decide which sanctuary is given to which saint, not knowing who it was that made the sacrifice. You reach out and you put a hand on the stone, right over the chest of the pictogram. You feel your connection deepen. I need Fish to keep track of this.
Yep.
I am going to cue you, and you are going to roll a d4 every time I do. You are losing that much health every time, as you are really, really stretching your magic to allow Cal to do this without you here physically. You are pulling a muscle to the extreme that you are damaging it.
Okay, and so do you know how much health that Fish has right now?
I don't. No idea.
Would you all like to know? 11.
Right. But you did a short rest. Just let's say you fucking actually rolled your hit dice.
Well, you've received some damage after entering death.
Have done, yeah. Which, by the way, is, I believe, 8 total. So if I can go back to full...
Yeah,
then
no,
I'm
you went back up to full with your
Yeah, that's
your
what I'm
short
saying.
rest.
Is you
Yeah,
could
just
on your short rest you could roll your hit dice to go back up. So let's say you did that.
Yeah, let's say I did that. That
so
means
take
I'm at
8 away
31
from
right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Much closer to what I expected. While this is occurring, May is stepping closer to this beast, watching you. Gekino kind of following behind. May?
Okay, you said you weren't gonna get too close, but just I'm gonna be here if you need help or anything. Or May, are you okay?
As you get closer and closer.
Gekino. Aren't you a big fellow?
As you get close enough, you see what looks like a smile contorted by this horrible deformation of what was once a human soul. And as the jaws part slightly, you hear it speak for the first time. Incredibly strange, gravelly voice. It's whispering, but sounds as if someone is screaming from far away.
Well, aren't you a tasty morsel?
I'll ask a girl out to dinner first. Yes, yes. A lot of dramatics. What's that in your throat?
Give me a persuasion check.
Oh! She was more talking to herself, but I'll take that. Okay. I use persuasion so little, I don't even know what it is off the top of my head. Alright. It's a 23.
With a 23, the Bargist sort of like, it has this kind of hunched, more wolfen form. It starts to stand up straight, which pulls it up higher and higher until it's about 7 feet, and it extends its neck much longer than a human neck and allows the fur to kind of part and settle. And you see this glint of red, and what it looks like to you is like a red bramble of thorns, a weave of magic with spikes stabbed into its throat, a collar of some kind made of magic. You know, Tinnitus came into this place to try to control the Bargist. You don't know if you ever considered if it was already under someone's control. And as it stretches up and shows you this thing, shackling it, binding it, stretching up, it then lunges forward, and with its power, pushes through the sanctuary, having reared up to snap its head down and bite your head off. It's clearly getting burned and hurt by this, but it seems like for just an instant, it's powerful enough to push through a little bit of this sanctuary. Give me a dexterity saving throw. Get out of the way.
Not great! That's the price I pay for that little bit of information. That is... That's a 7.
Okay. 7 fails.
I did specify she was staying a decent distance back, though.
Yes,
that
and he
mitigates
very
it.
purposely was like, yes,
was like,
I'm
"I'm just a
showing
little
you. I'm showing you, and also rearing up, so my attack
Yeah.
range is way farther than you think it is.
Yeah. You know
All
it's
right.
not an Ellie Patrick face-off if I don't make you work for it, Patrick.
All right. You failed the dexterity saving throw, so we'll do
Shock to no one.
2d10 plus 7 for 19 points of piercing damage. As
Can I
Mhm.
can I make an argument? I think you're already going to poo-poo it, but I think it's worth me making the argument. So, Kat has an enchantment on her, which means that May cannot be taken by surprise. Does that at all mitigate any of this?
Cat is not with you. Cat
But
is
her
not.
magic is with me.
Cat is not here with you. And also, this is not like attacking from stealth.
I
which
know, but it was worth a
the
shot.
Bargist can do and does far more damage than this. This is you got too close and he took a bite at you. This is not a surprise. He's just faster than you because you got a little too close. He bites down. His maw opens wider than you think it should. The line of like the mouth opening and the jaw is it's like too far back that the opening from the mouth almost starts to like run into the top of the neck as these giant teeth clamp around you. You dodge out of the way, but still get a fang right into the side of the neck and ripped out as you take 19 points of piercing damage.
Does it lunge back at a distance?
It immediately is like pushed back and like has skid a little bit to get out of the way from being like pushed out of the sanctuary. It can only like push in for just a brief moment, using a lot of power, and is clearly like injured by it. You can see its fur and its cloak kind of like mildly sizzling.
Does May observe it re-healing at all?
It does not look even remotely concerned by the damage that it took, and you can see it is almost instantly re-healed.
Useful information. May is going like this, probably still shocked and a lot of pain, and says, well, that was a bit fucking rude. Jesus! Yeah, literally! Me like, I've still got 2/3 of my health left, bitch.
Were I May, and obviously I'm not because May is crazy, but when I'm May, I would be like, oh my god, it's so scary to get attacked in the one place in the realm of death that is supposed to be safe. Not, you had your shot and you missed, big boy.
You are cutting out real bad.
As this
she's like very perturbed, but like,
yeah.
Anyway,
as you
it was a risk.
As you pull back and this thing burns and then heals, you hear it chuckle, this gravelly chuckle, and hear again, as if being screamed from far away, but channeled through this gravelly voice. You don't taste like necromancer.
We can chat when you're in a bit of a better mood and feeling more polite. May's going to turn around and picks up Kekno. He's going, you alright, Kekno? That was very scary. I was very scared, but you don't tell him that.
Kekno has like a little bit of like May blood on his face and is like,
and May like, smears it away.
Oh my god.
May's like, you know when you hold a baby and you're doing the patting on the butt? That's what May's doing.
Kekno is frozen between crying and just like paralyzed with fear. But this is all happening simultaneously to things that are happening with Cal and Fish. So we will instead jump back into that. With Cal and Fish focusing on this connection between Cal and Elise, you realize that the shrines, the sanctuaries, they're like tuning forks in a way. They emphasize a vibration, make it stronger and more obvious, but they don't create it. This is something that Elise is creating, maybe on purpose, maybe accidentally, that it is amplifying, that allows you to try to connect in this moment. And you feel her, not her emotions or her location, not even her presence, like she's close, but you feel her in a way that you are used to when you are both on Earth. She's far away, but you feel her. And you feel something else. A distortion, a wave, a rumble, this vibration. Do you reach out to it?
I know you want me to say yes, but unfortunately, no, Cal's not taking fucking stupid risks today. Unlike someone else she can name. No, she said it's fine. May's, she just wanted to know, can I connect to May now? Or can I connect to Elise now? I can. Cool.
Yeah. You focus on this vibration, this power, this ripple. And you start to feel a memory. You hear a woman crying, a young woman. Or Elise crying. When she got the news that your parents died. And as you start to pull back from this vision, suddenly your perception of this connection, this vibration, shakes and shatters as the power around you screams as something disturbs it, something hurts it, something stresses it. As you look up and see May getting nicked in the neck by the Barghest pushing through the barrier. And once it is pushed out, the sanctuary reasserts itself and is whole again, but clearly did some damage to it. As you see May pulling away, blood is slowly pulsing out of her neck as she clamps it and picks up Kekino as she got bit and makes her way back to you. May, I told you not to get close, and you got really close, and that was really scary, and it's scary and bad, and that thing's weird, and it looks like a person, but not like a person. It looks like a dog, but not a nice dog.
No, you're right. It is very weird, Kekino. You were absolutely correct. I didn't think it would be able to do that, and that's on me. Let's go back to your dad, shall we? Like one arm clamping it, one is back to them.
You were probably like accidentally smearing blood on Kekino a little bit, just being like, no, shh.
Yeah,
No.
It's fine. I actually wanted May to have some blood out anyway, so fortunate reasons.
All right. So, Cal and Fish see May getting bit, and the Barghest violate the safety of the sanctuary. What's up?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Fish. Hold on. Did they need to roll even one time just for the presence of Elise?
Yes, because Cal did not push into the image, you did not get continuous damage. It just happened once. So yes, roll a d4 for me.
Okay. Well, no, it was a 1. I did it like 10 minutes ago.
just one damage. You would have kept doing it the longer Cal was like connected to that, siphoning off your power. But she pulled back rather than dove deeper. So.
Okay, well, sees May getting bit. It's like, ugh, bad. And then it's like, oh, fuck, Kekino's out there. Gives Cal's hand a squeeze, then lets go and runs out of the thing. Still, like, closer to the building than to the barrier. It's like, gee. It's like, what the fuck? The thing just fucking bit you. Give me the... Kekino, give me...
He's fine, don't worry. Scared. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was, so let's learn from my mistake, shall we? May pulls away. May pulls away. Considering it's like a third of her health, I'm imagining it's like a decent wound, but it's missed the jugular, maybe?
Yes. No, it's definitely like you missed an artery, but you nicked a vein of being like, okay, I can stop it, I can put pressure on it, and it will be fine. I'm losing like a not insignificant amount of blood, though.
In front of Fish, May is going to use Second Wind because she hasn't used that yet. So, so that's 8 hit points healed. So I'm going to flavor it as like she like magic comes out.
Yeah,
the wound seals up a bit.
You see like the muscles in her neck start to tighten and like the wound get closed. You feel like it kind of like clamped off the vein and the gushing blood has slowed.
Yeah,
it's not all the way better, but she is like noticeably healed.
Yeah, May's like, haven't had a bloodletting done in a while. Convenient and helpful of him.
I feel like my humors are rebalanced.
Yeah.
Did it say something to you? Did you say
Yes,
what
it wasn't a
happened?
complete loss. It's being controlled by someone. A collar.
Who?
I haven't the foggiest, but it has a magical red collar made of thorns neck, so it extrapolates someone powerful.
Puts Kekino back in her arms and steps close to the barrier, but not nearly as close as she was, and
Yeah.
He's like,
yells.
7 feet tall, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
and
May was like, I'm going to stay 5 feet away from the barrier. And Fish is like, I'm going to stay 10 feet away from the barrier.
and yells at the Barghest, who is your master?
As you look up, you were focused on May and the bleeding. You saw the Barghest bite her and then get pushed out and step back. You looked at May, you looked at Kekino, you looked back at the border, and the Barghest wasn't there anymore. It seems to be able to
Okay,
disappear
so
as soon as nobody is looking at it.
It's got to
Right,
pass that
so
trace
it-
times 3 on it.
so Fish goes, who is your oh, it's gone.
Oh, it's gone. It does have a plus 13 to stealth, so yeah, kind of.
Jesus.
It has a plus 13 to stealth and a teleportation ability.
Fuck me.
Well, it only got through for a second. It can't be in here for a long period of time, so we'll just stay here and
Yes.
never
You can
leave.
regenerate, by the way.
Oh god.
I know, it just gets better. I wonder how much of it is still a person.
I didn't hear what you said, sorry.
Oh, May says, I wonder how much of it is still a person.
Oh, then Fish like lifts the head and goes like, according to what I read, not a scrap of it.
Lovely. Fantastic. Right, well. You'll excuse me while I've got the blood flowing. I might as well do some magic I was hoping to test out. May's gonna go over to Cal.
Upon realizing this was not a 5-star emergency, Cal was like, I'm too mad to yell at May about being stupidly fucking reckless again, so she just decided to kneel down at the pillar and pray, give a prayer of thanks instead to the saint.
You feel not like an awareness, not anything human, but an acknowledgement. Whether that's
And
a
then
small transfer of energy, a little energy into the sanctuary and a little energy back. But you do feel something.
And then you also feel a bit of a weight on your shoulders, which is Fish like putting Gekino down on like the back of your neck.
Has
Like,
Fish
hey.
wiped the blood off Gekino first?
Yeah, yes, he's blood free.
I think you see that being souls, not bodies, you take out like a scrap of, you take out like a rag and try to like wipe off Gekino, spit into it, wipe off Gekino. And you keep like folding over the rag, and it keeps getting really bloody. But then you'll like fold it in half and you'll keep scrubbing, and then you'll fold it in half again, and it like there should already be blood peeking through, and there's not anymore. The blood is kind of like disappearing as like the concept, the idea of it is gone from your bodies as it becomes separate from you.
Yes, but no, passing Kekino onto Cal when she's ready to accept him. And then to, I guess, fucking fill her in on the dates with May.
No, I imagine everybody needs backup to where Cal is.
Yeah. You all reconvene here at the pillar, knowing that while you got a head start on Tinnitus, it was not so much of one that you can wait here forever and not run into them. They are on their way. But I need, as you reconvene, everyone to give me a new stealth check.
That's without Trace should still be on.
Yep.
27.
23.
29.
Wow. The shades that were blocking you before and have been kind of like pressing against the barrier, ever since you like actually got in, you passed that barricade, like some of them have stayed up pressed against and other ones have kind of like started to turn and kind of like drift away. You get the sense that they can't really perceive particularly well inside the sanctuaries, and with that stealth, you're staying quiet enough, keeping your energy and power low enough that eventually they just kind of start to drift away. And while there are still some like nearby, they have seemingly lost interest or maybe memory that you're there. And so while they're still in the area, they're not like now physically blocking you. So you do have the avenue of approach, or at least the most likely avenue of approach for Tinnitus and the others is now like somewhat clear, and you can see that direction again, as well as potentially pass out of the bubble to escape.
Can we see Tinnitus or any of the others like on the horizon on their way?
Not yet. You're kind of in like an enclosed area. Like you went through a couple twists and turns on Kekino to get in here, so you can't see particularly far. Like the crater you started in was probably like the largest open area you've seen in this place so far. And Cal would know like the largest open area you're likely to find because it was kind of artificially made. This is you can't see far enough to kind of like see them on the horizon. They are going to, if they come in the same direction as you are going to see them at about the same time they see you. They see this pillar. There's not, it's, unless you've got like, unless you scout in some way, there it's going to be kind of a surprise.
Cal wants to be very practical and be like, basically, we're going to have to hunker down at some. We either have to try to speed run this in my next, potential hour of living, or we're going to have to hunker down somewhere and basically do a long rest and try to get me stabilized. And is kind of outlining that, like, do you guys want to try and race to the other two temples as quickly as possible, or do we try to do one more and then hunker down there? I think it's probably not a good idea to stay here necessarily.
Give me an Arcana check for Cal.
But isn't she like not fading away here?
That's what the Arcana check is for.
My dice want to make sure I stay humble, so despite that being an Arcana check, it's on you. So nat 1 for a 12.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? It seems like you're fine in this sanctuary. You could probably stay here forever.
Okay, sounds like we could probably stay here. We have to mostly worry about Tinnitus and maybe just trying to, like, hide from them.
As Cal is like saying this, Fish and May are watching as it's like so much slower than it was happening before, but still like a little flake of magic like flickers off a temple and starts floating up and away, being like, no, this doesn't pause the clock, it just slows it way down.
May does want to try some magical stuff. I don't think it would take too long, but then she's like, yeah, let's fucking get out of here. We can't hunker down here forever, unfortunately. That's
Yeah,
basically
might
her
just
thought.
be enough time to catch your breath before Tinnitus and
Yeah.
the others get here. Potentially. They might already be
Yeah.
dead.
You wouldn't be that kind.
You're like, I actually am rolling death saves for Tail and Pumpkin, and Tinnitus actually got like a bigger dick. He now has a big shadow dick.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Tinnitus is honestly hampered. He's moving slower, and it's because you just see this big old fangs dragging behind him.
That's why you came here, really. Okay. Practical question. Can fish do the conversions of how much time Cal has, not in a shrine sanctuary to how much time she has in a shrine sanctuary?
I would normally say no, but because you already gave up 2 spell points in order to extend her, you have gotten more of an intuitive sense of how it's working for her. You think that if she stayed here for a long rest, 8 hours, that would be the entirety of her time. So she could take a long rest, get back up to full health and full spell points, and then come back with 2 minutes of protection left or something like that. It's like you can stay here, you can stay in a shrine or in all the shrines combined total for a fair amount of time. It is not a permanent situation by any means.
Without announcing it, just quietly, just one more spell point of time onto that, please.
All right. As you busily start to weave in more time to Cal. All right. May wanted to do some magical experiments.
You sure did. So last time we talked about May the symbols she used for necrotic resistance that she had in her jacket previously, with the symbols of preservation she would have been creating her lineage. I want to also add on to that, I never ever got to use whip, but at one point she also had a tier 2 protect, which when you basically hit something with the whip, it gives you temporary hit points back. So I want to add that into the mix, and basically I'm going to argue for advantage or whatever May is going to use blood to daub symbols on, which I feel is instinctively much more powerful than just ink.
Give me a symbol magic check.
Okay. Dirty 20.
Okay. With a dirty 20, you try to do these symbols in your blood. You think it's smart to experiment on the ground that you on the ground that before experimenting on a person. It reacts not the way you expect. The fact that there is the fact that you're using blood seems to make it stronger, but also more unstable. When you try to include a protection from necromancy, it's because the world here is made of necromantic energy, it kind of pops and distorts a little bit, like it's fighting the world around it. You try to put in what you know about protection magic and temporary hit points and things like that, and you cobble together really a new symbol that you don't think will work out in the waking world, but will work at least well enough here. You manage to create...
That's another paper for me.
You manage to create something that has some effect here. You are you do have a thing of being like, okay, I think I've got it, and then you turn around to talk to the others, and then you look back, and like the blood is entirely gone as you kind of like lost the concept of the fact that you were bleeding, and you were like, I know what it looked like. I can, as long as I set it on people, that's fine. You have created a symbol just for here within the realm of death. That means when you are taking passive damage from being here, when it is trying to eat you away, essentially, you will -1 to any damage roll. And if you have killed a denizen of this realm within the last, say, 3 or 4 minutes before you take that damage, it will be no damage at all. So you can
Can you put that
essentially,
in writing in the chat for me as well? Thank you.
yes, you are essentially doing like a you are essentially creating like a siphon in a way, a siphon shield of being like, you can protect yourself a little bit from like essentially the environment in here, corrosive damage from being in the realm of death, and you can kind of power that by using a little bit of the energy of creatures that live here to power it and protect you with it.
Cool. May conveys that to the game, and because I would like to imagine she has a manifestation of her calligrapher's tool, her cartography tools, which I imagine would include a pen, is basically going to use herself as the inkwell and draw it on everyone.
Okay.
That's really cool. I like that.
That is very cool. I think it's super sick. But would it even work on fish, being a force ghost and all?
That's true. I imagine it would be like, we could try, but it's really more for her and Cal.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely like, I don't know if this will work on fish, but might as well.
That doesn't matter.
Can you know? Do you want a tattoo?
Okay,
Yes.
I mean, Dad, can I get a tattoo?
Not till your older son.
Okay. Sorry, May.
Worth a shot.
But yeah, so we're just gonna do some quick kind of like touching up and then run out again. Go back to the skate rink.
Yeah. We can do roller derby on the fucking bus when it appears.
You
Slingshot
have,
me, bitch.
yeah, you haven't done a new cartography check to try and like map out the next section.
All right.
So you don't quite know like necessarily the direction you're going and how you need to travel there. But yeah.
I'll do one. I'm happy to do one. Can I get advantage?
Can we grab some advantage from Cat in the Hand?
Yeah.
If
Cat in the hand and a bird in the bush.
If fish gives me a DC 12 intelligence check, I will say Cat will cancel out the disadvantage you were getting before, so you roll flat.
Nice.
I will take this.
I think Patrick is like, oh, I'll cancel out your disadvantage so you can roll flat, which he hadn't intended on giving us disadvantage, but he's just trying to make it sound like a win, so we shut the fuck up.
No, that's not true. No, May was going to roll with disadvantage on every one of these cartography tools checks.
I would never purposely try to punish Ellie for coming up with good ideas.
If I try to punish Ellie, I will be open and honest about it. Yeah.
What'd you get?
The bad rolls keep a rolling. That's a 7.
Okay. You try to focus on your body, getting Cat into the right position. Okay, May holds her about like this, and try and manipulate your body while focusing on your soul. Crack one eye open so you can kind of see what you're doing.
I'm holding her backwards.
Click. Cat's paw goes up and strikes a little flint lighter, and there's just like a little like cigarette lighter built in that you've activated. You go, shit.
Damn it.
Yeah, May, give me that check with disadvantage.
So mean to me. Alright.
Yep. Correct.
Well, it's already really bad, King, so I don't know how it's going to get any worse. Okay, that's an 11.
Okay. With an 11, there are 3 paths forward, and you don't really know which is which. Cal being able to take the lead, since she can see accurately, may be able to kind of reduce the error rate. But you can tell the direction you need to go, but not quite the route. And you know that 2 of those routes are not possible with the Kekano sled. They're kind of like climbing routes in a way, and the one that you think is possible but may not be a real route, since you're not able to kind of confirm that, is Kekano possible, but a bit longer, a little more out of the way.
May conveys this and then is going to defer because Cal might have a better sense.
But she's not a salmon.
Yeah.
She's got a homing instinct.
I think Cal's prioritizing speed so much that she's like, it doesn't have to be Kekano's sled. We can try and think of something else.
Can we try the stilts? That's me at least saying that. Like, if it worked for...
The idea I was having was less so like just so high stilts we just like go over the mountains. Cal's like, hey, my elevator plan worked great.
Yeah, punt us over.
Yeah, she just launches everybody. How stupid does doing another shadow elevator and then a hang glider sound?
You don't think
pretty sick.
You don't think you could make a hang glider work? There's no like. Cal is a little too like logical, like scientific for like flights of fancy, which in this case is a detriment, because you're looking at it. There's a lot of like flying creatures around. You're like, okay, that's kind of a problem, but we can solve that. We could do kind of like a shield, and then. I don't know that there's like air pressure here to be able to hold up a hang glider, and then just you kind of like logic yourself into like it failing. Like maybe if you were delusional enough, it might work. But
she
the fact that
say it.
Full like Freerin.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like an Ubel with in Freerin of being like, if you were absolutely crazy, it might have worked. The fact that you can start poking holes in it means it's not going to work.
Because May's got a Skyfall harness. That's a shame. It's not infused at the moment, but she could mention that if Cal was going to bring it up. But
Cal will probably say that she's pretty confident in Death Elevator now, that she could at least send everybody high up enough to kind of like, or at least her, because she's the one with, eyes that can see, to go up on the Death Elevator and kind of see where would be the best path forward, and then maybe decide from there. And then Death Elevator. Because can you give me more of an image? So is it? Are we talking like Pokemon Arceus, like Sneasel?
For the route or the death elevator?
No, for the route that we'd be going forward, the one that's not Kekno sled approved.
There's
Is it like
one.
just like you can't walk, you need to be like full like pick in the mountain scaling across?
There is one that is a sledding route, one that is a hiking route, and one that is a climbing route.
Okay. I
We could
will
climb
decide.
up with death elevator.
Yeah, no, let's check the death elevator.
Okay. To get a view of the death elevator, you would need to put yourself high enough to be completely out of the sanctuary bubble, and also be potentially spotted and could be attacked by a lot of these like weird flying skittery creatures
Yeah,
around.
but I still have pass without trace, and I
Correct.
got like a 34. So yeah.
Mhm.
Worst case scenario, Cal gets attacked and then like sends herself back down on death elevator. So
Okay. If you want to
death
do that, do you want
elevator
to?
is the name of my fucking metal band.
Yeah. Do you want to you want to do that yourself, or do you want to bring May with you to reference her maps, or fish for the Eldritch site, or just you?
She'll ask them. She'll be like, I'll do it myself, but she'll be like, if you guys feel like you need to contribute.
Fish rubs their eyes and thinks of how it really would just take them forgetting to suspend their disbelief for 1 second for the entire illusion to fall away, and thinks, and it's just like, I don't think my Eldritch Sight would help right now.
May will 100% go with her because May wants to get a better sense of bearing.
Okay.
All right.
May and Cal are going up. Fish is going to reassure Kekino and make sure he's all ready to be moving along, as well as maybe do some
Yep.
scouting down below. Make sure you get a clear route through the, still creatures that are wandering
Yeah,
around.
they're gonna do a circle around the outside of the sanctuary shrine, just to be like, Bargust, hello?
Ooh.
No.
Whistle,
Make
whistle.
sure just making sure that you're not fucking there. Not that I can tell for certain.
I've got kibble.
I got kibble. You want a steak?
Kekino's like a seal dog.
Yeah. Okay. We send
Kekino,
Cal
do you
and
smell
May.
evil on the air?
You smell evil on the air. Yeah. You sent Cal and May head up on this death elevator. As soon as you pierce this invisible bubble, you are once again in this realm of shadows and wind.
Oh my god, not this guy again.
Up amongst the fluttering creatures. You can see them a little closer now. As Cal sees them, there is floating skulls and strange bats with scorpion tails and a large proboscis. There is strange what looked like almost monkeys that seem to be swinging from invisible tree to invisible tree, and as one swings by you, you see its entire body is a mouth. It's like a torso with arms and legs, and then its entire body is a big jagged mouth. There are creatures of bones flying. You see swarms of things that look like maggots or cockroaches, but on closer inspection are something else, something native to this realm. And as you you send yourself up, trying to wrap yourself in shadows at the same time, keeping out of sight. Let's do some perception checks.
May's got her whip at the ready.
A strange mouth demon seems to pause above you for just a moment and then dives down below where it seems to grab prey of some kind, missing you completely. As you have gotten up here and have a clear moment.
Do these things feed on each other, or do I see like Anna Harkin's arm sticking out of its mouth?
You don't see what it. You don't see what it. You don't see what it went for, but you could give me a survival or nature check if you wanted.
I feel like Cal would care about that.
God, ain't nothing natural about what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
You said survival or nature?
Yeah.
Okay, well it's the same. So I'll do survival. That's a 21.
21.
Jesus.
Wow. What was that naturally?
18.
Oh, okay. With a 21, you're kind of like thinking back to your studies, some of which you actually studied with and Harkin, introducing some of these concepts with you. Some others, you went more in depth with when you were at the Paris Temple. There's essentially two classifications of beings here in the traditional taxonomy, but there are other necromancers who disagree and said there's 15 major types. But generally speaking, they are divided into beings that are truly spawned by the realm of death. Sometimes it's creatures that are where the realm of death metaphysically rubs up against other realms, or seem to come out of the pit that all souls go into. And the other classification is creatures or beings that are in some way use human materials or a human soul as part of their construction. In this two classifications, neither needs to eat necessarily, but both have a desire or an urge to destroy to a certain extent. And so there's a lot of they don't hunt each other, they destroy each other and tear each other apart, and then those pieces will reform into something similar or something else, and there kind of creates this hierarchy of beings that are here longer, have existed longer, can become larger and more powerful than others, and it is this kind of constant creation and breaking down of various systems. So you don't think this thing necessarily found and Harkin and ate him, but you do think that it just attacked something smaller than it here, and maybe that something will be part of a larger creature that eats this creature down the road.
Okay.
I think May witnessing the same thing and Cal being yes, is May saw a hawk with 3 heads and a big circle of raw behind its head come back and just absolutely decapitate what looked like a person boiling in a pit of lava, and it's oh, okay. Cal's a little weird for staring at this so intently, but all right. It is a little bit like that, Ink. Yeah. Yes, but while both of you are up there, I need now Cal to give me a cartography check with advantage, which is I don't believe you have cartography proficiency. So that is just going to be a +0 to whatever you roll, and both of you can make perception checks. And
Okay, so do
yeah.
cartography with advantage and then perception.
and then perception, and choose whether you're looking forward or back.
Do you want to pick one and I'll take the other, Meanie?
Yeah. Okay. I'll do forward. You can do back.
Sure. Do we get advantage because we're so fucking high up?
No, but you are capable of like actually seeing something beyond the valley you're in.
Well, what a novelty.
The fact you can roll at all is the advantage.
Not hot.
Do you guys want the good news or the bad news?
Bad news.
The bad news first.
The bad news is the perception was a nat 1.
Oh! We're that high up. We're like, what? What is that?
Yeah. What's that a total
you need
of?
to
Like
go into
5?
your settings and do your draw distance so that it's
Yeah!
more.
Yeah.
It loads
Yeah.
more
You've got the
chunks.
draw distance to 5 chunks. You need a way higher than that.
Yeah.
There's just
Total
a fog out there.
Total of 4.
Okay,
But-
total of 4.
And I don't know if you'll allow me to maybe re-roll because of this. My cartography check was a nat 20.
They will be different things. But
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know if you let me re-roll for that about being like this
That's
makes
so
no
funny.
fucking sense.
No,
Wait.
it's what you were focused on.
Yeah.
You were so focused on one that you kind of lost the other in the sauce. You look out on these routes that May points out to you and try to follow them with your eyes. Even with your training, this is so much of the Death Realm that you're like looking at once that the hallucinations are starting to impede on your senses as well. But you push through them and you find where the Kekno route actually dead ends, you see, and then starts to dogleg out. You think you might be able to, if you take that, you might actually be able to climb up and go over, but it'd take you pretty far out of the way and is not necessarily a good route to take. The climbing route is, you see, just fully non-viable. It takes you into a series of cliffs that you can see kind of like, instead of, you need to go like up and around, and instead it takes you up and through, and you will end up in like a new area, a new series of chasms that you can see in the distance. That's not the right direction. You'll end up, if you're trying to go like west, you'll end up northwest going that direction. The hiking trail, you actually see that it levels out after a certain point. That it is incredibly rocky and hard to navigate for the first stretch, and then while it never seems to be like totally flat and even that would allow Kekano to skate by, it seems like gentle for the rest of the way. And from up here you can see where it appears to dead end, but actually goes around a very sharp corner before continuing. So you know that not just that is a good way forward, but that is a way you may not have realized was an option had you seen it from down below. As you are looking at this, you can see very faintly off in the distance and almost hear this little chime, a speck of white, as you think you see the sanctuary you're aiming for. And as you're listening for that, there is a rumble, a shift. The pillar you're on bucks, lifting up and then down. And you can almost see a wave coming out through the land, shifting and breaking things. A wave that feels like Elise. and that is what distracts you for this natural one. You could have potentially looked for dangers on the different routes as well, to see if one was safer or not. Instead, you know 100% which one is the most direct and which one has the least navigational problems in getting there. You know you can navigate to the next sanctuary. You just don't know if it's necessarily the safest route because you were distracted by Elise, seemingly having let out some of her magic, and it is fucking with the structure and reality of this realm in a bit of a dangerous way. But as you look out, distracted from dangers, you see caves collapsing and reforming as this wave rolls across. Things seem to disappear for a moment before reappearing, and every once in a while a little spark coming up. And the spark forms into a little celestial. Little messengers, like the one that found Cal. Little signal flares almost to try to find someone for help. And you see, snatched out of the sky by a demonic creature, stung by something, burst into sparks. One seems to sicken and die on its own, falling into a chasm. Elise never knew if or when you got a message, and it seems like she is still sending them. And you can see that they have a very low success rate. And that's what distracts you. Now, what did May get on her perception check?
13.
13. With a 13, you can see a little bit farther back on the route you came from, and you can see multiple spots of movement, one of which does look like potentially it is a group of people disappearing behind a rock. You don't know if it was Tinnitus and the others, but you can see that whatever it is, if they are headed towards you, if they are going the right way, if they're not a creature native to here jumping on prey, they will be here in maybe 5 to 10 minutes. They're getting pretty close.
May nudges Cal and is like, I think we better get moving. I can see them. Well,
Yeah,
I think I can see them.
And Cal's going to be like, I know which path we should be going on. We can leave immediately.
Okay, 2 more perception checks against your stealth.
Don't forget that May has her whip out.
All right. For a moment, a little hand, like it had been chopped off of a larger body, like a zombie, splats onto your platform, and then flips itself over and starts skittering away. Seems to pause for a moment as it steps over your foot as he tries not to move, and then it skitters off the platform and starts to skitter down the side. That was with a natural 19. Almost saw you, did not. Yes, very, very Addams Family. And with that, you managed to get away with this scouting mission. You sink back down to find Fish and Kekino preparing to go. Now I need to take a moment to do some rolls for Beliala and Jamal.
That's a nerd
How are the girlies?
Okay.
Their team name is Jelly Belly.
I'm imagining Beliala skittering along the ceiling like Stitch.
That's what she does.
She skitters.
Fish, you can hear with your physical ears the sounds of yelling and people running and like an alarm, but clearly not like a modern alarm. It's like somebody beating on like a cowbell or something.
Okay. How? If it's a cowbell, it's not urgent, right?
Maybe.
Okay, so while they were up there having a look, could I have possibly pulled myself out for just a second, just to
Yeah,
see what's...
You have just a moment. Yep.
Okay. I'd like to roll... Would it be perception on what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, you can look at like your perception to try and like see what's in your immediate surroundings and trying to like hear what's going on in the hallway.
Yeah, overhear what's in the hallway.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. 16.
16. Okay. Roll a die for me. It doesn't matter which one. You're gonna call evens or odds, and then tell me what you get.
Okay, I'm rolling a d4. I'm gonna say even. And it was a 4.
Okay. You did your last comprehend languages recently enough that it is still in effect, even though you have not been, paying attention to your body and doing other adventures. You were getting put in this cell, and you were like, "Hold on, I think I got a little dirt in my shoe." So when you hear the yelling in Farsi, you do understand it. You hear, "Find her! What are you doing? Find her!" As people run back and forth. Sounds like Beliala is causing problems and has at least been seen, but not necessarily caught. With a 16, you also see the unconscious guard in your cell starting to stir, is kind of like groaning and like starting to roll over to his side. Does not necessarily look like he is waking up right this moment, but probably a lot closer to it than he was before.
No, hold on a sec. Okay. Let's just do a real quick stone fist to knock him back the fuck out.
He is too far away for you to stone fist without like getting out of meditation stance and like leaving the cell, because you're still on the inside and he's still on the outside.
Can't just,
you have
just like go.
Yeah, you
No.
I would. You could do it if you gave me a DC 18 Wisdom saving throw to be like, I maintain enough connection with my projection body to be able to like crawl over a little bit and hit him in the face and then get back in.
How would there be? What would the DC be to stone fisting Kekino so he turns into petrified wood and beating him at the guy?
You could send Kekino over and do the stone fist through Kekino. That would be, I'd say, probably a DC like 7 Wisdom saving throw, and Kekino will just be gone for like a short amount of time in
that's fine.
realm. Yeah.
Fish needs to stay connected. Kekino can go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then I'll do that. I'm gonna fucking... That's the one that I get nat 20 on.
All right. You say, "Hey, Kekino, go over and see if that guy is okay." Kekino goes, "Okay, Dad." And he just kind of like, he goes up to the bars. He doesn't use the gate. He just kind of goes,
Yeah, just loops through.
and just kind of like flops through, goes over and says, "Hey, are you okay? Hello? Are you all right?" And you go, "Stone fist." boom. Kekino's like lightly slapping him to wake him up, and you do Stone Fist through Kekino and just bash him the fuck across the face. The guy like slides slightly. I assume you want to do non-lethal damage.
non-lethal
Yeah.
damage.
Otherwise, I would make you roll to
Non-lethal.
see if you actually killed this guy.
Okay, he's not dead. He's just really unconscious.
He's really unconscious. Kekino goes, "Oh my goodness, are you okay? Mister, are you okay? Are you okay?" And you like,
checked up on him, Kekino. You did exactly what you needed to do. He's just fine.
yeah, good job, buddy. Just come back to me. And you settle into yourself, and you, home run sound effect. You settle into yourself and focus back in your spiritual presence in the realm of death, and Kekino is there on your lap going, "Dad, he's not waking up. Did I do something wrong? He might be sick. Should I go get somebody?"
How about don't go get a necromancer, but like go see if you can find Jamal in the library. I want to know how he's doing.
Okay, Dad. And you realize that while it is a struggle for you to exist in two places at once, you are a physical being in a way that Kekino is not. And with a nat 20, you realize that he can fully stay with you while his body goes off and does some stuff. And like every once in a while, he'll have to like pay attention to just one or the other when he's doing something hard. But you genuinely with your ears like hear Kekino be like, and like jump up and like open the door and go out into the hallway. Kekino's gonna go explore while he is still with you in the death realm.
Fantastic. Thank you for rewarding me for my one and only 20 this session. Anyway, Fish comes back.
All right. Fish comes back just as the shadow elevator is lowering. You are all together again, and you don't have a ton of time before Tinnitus and the others appear there. What do you do? Do you leave immediately?
If that's what the ladies indicate to do, then yes.
Yeah. Yeah, just kind of go as quickly as possible. I'm trying to see if I can think up of any clever fucking ways to get up the more steep, like the hiking terrain.
Shadow crampons, I'm telling you.
Shadow what?
Shadow crampons.
I don't know what those are.
Rusty tampons?
Crampons, as in like the things you attach to your feet to grip on ice.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Well, this is just like a hike, but like this is like a hike. This isn't full like climb because we're doing the hiking path. We could do like shadow cleats.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, shadow cleats.
Well, as you decide whether you're doing shadow cleats or not, you head out, slip out of the protective aura, and give me another stealth check, everybody.
Still with Pass with that trace?
Yeah, still got it.
19.
Not as good for me. That's I think that's a 22.
28.
There you go.
Okay. As you climb onto this hiking trail and head on out, Fish carrying Kekino because he's mostly doing something with his body right now, but is still like, quietly talking with you and reassuring you and things. You head off on this trail. As you start to hike up, you see movement at the entrance of the canyon, and you manage to get into hiding quick enough to see Tail and Harkin and Tinnitus appear from around the corner and head to the sanctuary you just vacated. And Harkin looks injured, perhaps. You can do a perception check if you want to be sure, but he seems to be like holding his arm in a strange way. Tinnitus and Tail seem fine at just passive perception first blush, as they are getting to the sanctuary. And rather than sticking around and keeping an eye on them, you yourself continue to hike out, knowing that you're in the lead on the trail to the next sanctuary. As you are hiking along, I think May sees I think as the terrain starts to level out, starting to become an easier hike as you get past the first spot, Cal starts seeing caves branching off over and over again. And May instead sees the opening of tombs in the Valley of Kings. And as you are heading along, staying to the shadows, trying to look everywhere at once, strange creatures still flying overhead or starting to scatter ahead of you. You feel like maybe there is something there's maybe something moving up ahead, perhaps? Do you sort of stop, slow, investigate, or do you keep going?
Does everyone see it?
May has the highest passive perception, but I think it is like things have been kind of moving and have kind of been moving around and not been totally still the entire time. I think this looks to everyone like it could be just another movement or something more important, because it's something that continues to move at like the entrance to one of the caves.
They just tells themselves it's just more bullshit. Ignore it.
Yeah, Cal's like, let's give it a wide berth and keep going fast.
Yeah.
Because like
Let's
she
act like we haven't seen
out
it.
where Elise is, so she's not like, ooh, is that Elise?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Then you continue past and continue on. As you sneak past a little ways behind you, you hear and a like half of a zombie like kind of pulls itself out of the cave. Another one, and then a sort of blob all at once. A large mass, a rat king of zombies and skeletons emerge out of this cave and pretty much entirely block the path behind you. And, there's no getting back that way without a fight. as you continue on. You approach the bend. You see where it dead ends in just a sudden stop. Just a little cave in front of you, thin enough, more like a crack, thin enough you'd have to turn sideways to fit into it. And as you see this, you know, Cal, that this is where that secret kind of passage is. This is where that little dog leg. And so although it looks like a blind alley, you know that if you continue on here and then you take a left around to this boulder, there'll be a little pathway that opens up to the rest of the way. You take it. Everything is fine. And then around the corner, as you step onto this path again, you hear a bit of whistling as if the Bargus is near. You don't see him. Anyone can give me a perception check.
Like the shark in Jaws, he's got the taste of flesh.
I'll roll.
I
13.
also rolled. It was not great. It was a 6, but that's what we have May for.
It was only 14 for me.
Oh, Lord.
They're in that tiny crevice. She's been fishing Cal. She's like, can't see shit.
As you step out of this little slot canyon and you see the way in front of you start to clear, you can't quite see the sanctuary yet, but Cal can start to hear it, start to feel it. You know you're going the right way. You know you're in the right direction. As you step out carefully, slowly, no, nothing. Way is safe. And you start heading forward as May feels a tickle on the back of her neck, being watched. As the Bargus, clinging to the rock face above the slot canyon you came out of, drops down on you all. May cannot be surprised. We're saying that Cat still has that power for you here.
She also gets advantage on
initiative
on
rolls.
these rolls. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And with that, we will roll initiative for a
No.
battle that will start next time.
Ah, no! Killing me.
"13 again."
13
Nice.
for me as well.
Oh. Your dexterity would be higher, so that'd be you first.
I actually don't know how, if it is, to be honest. +1. What about you?
Find out. +1 also. What happens in this
again.
circumstance?
You roll the d20s again. Whoever gets higher goes first of the two of you.
Okay.
That was an 8.
10.
16 for Miss Cal.
That means Fish is going first. 16 for Cal?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm telling
And
you, it got a taste for non-necromancer flesh, and now it's like, oh, yummy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And with a 26 initiative, the Bargist goes first.
Gee, is that so?
In addition to its surprise round.
Wait, but what? So it gets a surprise round on everyone except May?
Correct.
Ew.
I'm gonna shoot the
Oh.
fuck out of this thing.
The Bargist is essentially a ambusher like assassin build, which is why it can disappear and reappear. If it gets you in the surprise round and you're not May, it can do a ton of damage. And whether it is dropping down on May or one of the others first, I'm going to leave up to fate.
Lord.
Guys, it's
Let's
over.
hope it's me. I am going to blast the shit out of this thing.
Everybody pick a number 1 through 4.
3.
4.
2.
Okay, then I get 1.
The fuck does that mean?
The Bargist is dropping down on Cal, unfortunately.
No!
Cal girl, it's nice
No.
knowing you.
Yeah, I hope y'all are ready for him to take out all of my hit points and maybe
Quick,
dead.
kill one of the skulls.
Yeah,
Kill one of the skulls, get the death symbol.
Can we do a push out of the way at the last second? Like, come on.
Because they can't be surprised.
May could, but you cannot because you would be surprised.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the way this works mechanically is you were walking along. May says something is watching me and starts to turn while the Bargist is like dropping. Cal's like the first time Cal knows the Bargist is there is when its like teeth are at the back of her neck, and Fish when Cal like hits the ground. So it's only May who's like mid-turn who can kind of do anything in that split second.
But I can't, right? Because he still is ahead of me in the initiative order.
I would give you the opportunity of interfering with his sneak attack because you can't be surprised. I would give you that, but the actual like that essentially means if you succeed on that roll, you would take the damage instead of Cal. You would take less because you would not be sneak attacked, but you would take the damage instead if you succeeded.
Okay.
All right.
I plan to do that.
And with that, we will end this session of Well-Dressed Bones. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoy. And we will see you later, Craig.